What's up, guys? How are you? How are we? We are going to... We're going to do some astrology. We're going to do some astrology. I'm going to do something interesting this evening, and I'm just going to let you guys know right off the bat, my list for tonight is already sold out. It is already sold out. There are still, I think, maybe 2 or 3 tickets for tomorrow, and a few for the rest of the week. I will be doing these readings every day this week until the 7th. So if you want to get on this list, you can. We are going to be looking at the following placements. We're going to be looking at your Pegasus placement in your chart, which is how you move, basically, in the astral and in magic and so on. Your Neptune placement, what you perceive, like how you look at magic, how you see things, how you see the astral, etc. Your Hecate placement, which is how you open, close liminal spaces, how you interact with liminal spaces, how you interact with just magic in general. We're going to look at your Hades, which is how deep you can go really safely within the astral, and also what your talents are as far as that goes, as far as your shadow talents goes. And then we're also going to look at your Kali placement, Kaali, if you guys want to look up what asteroid that is, like Kali the goddess. We're going to look at that. That tells me where your energy lies. So all of these things will tell me, my mama told me to tell you, all of these things will tell me how your magic operates, where it sits, what kind of shadow magic are you good at, how do you travel in the astral, like all of those things. And you guys are going to have to forgive me because I did not get some things set up. I was talking to Sass, and the next thing I know, I was like, I gotta be on a live. Like, oh shit, like, hold on. So normally I'm a little more prepared, and I'm gonna apologize. But we are going to... I gotta fix all of this. Nope, you don't need that. Looks really, really naked, but hold on, hold on. That one is a number. Hold on a minute here. How was y'all's Tuesday? How was your Tuesday? Alright, let's see here. There we go. There we go. Still looks a little naked, but that's fine. Alright, who is first on my list for tonight? My website be doing its stupid thing. Be doing its stupid thing. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and close that entire tab out. I had my entire computer lock up a while ago, and it just absolutely pissed me off. Just absolutely pissed me off. All right, there we go. There we go. That's meta. Miss Ashley Evans is first on my list this evening. Have I pulled a chart for you, Ashley? I feel like I have. Let's look. I have. All right. Why is it so abrasive? All right. I'll put that here. And you'll put that here. The one thing I hate about the asteroids is it gives them like this, right? So here's your Hecate. I got my cheat sheet over here. All right, so Hecate in Pisces, that is all about blurring the gates, dissolving the veil, like walking back and forth through the veil. It's in your 12th house, which is thinning the veil. So that's like the perfect pairing of that. So this is why you see shit. This is why you see shit and why you feel crazy. You see across the veil very easy, which also tells me that you have natural mediumship abilities. But hold please, because and you look at your Kali. Which is also in Pisces. Okay, so Kali in Pisces is like an infinite power, but it's very diffused. So you have a massive amount of spiritual power, but it's very diffused, so it feels scattered all the time. And being in your 12th house, that's kind of almost the same type of aspect. So your Hecate is perfectly placed, your Kali is perfectly placed. And if I remember right, they were actually getting along. Don't quote me. Conjunction, yes. So these two work really well hand in hand together. I'm gonna say right off the bat that I'm willing to bet that you shut this gift off as a kid. I'm willing to say that you shut this gift off as a kid. Like it scared the shit out of you and you didn't want anything to do with it. I don't want that one yet. That's the one I want. So this particular asteroid is also called Hades. Veritas is also called Hades. And this is how you access the other side. It's how you access the underworld. It's how you access your shadow. It's how you access anything at all with the darkness, the lower realms on the other side. Yours is in Taurus, which is, you do a lot of grounded work in the underworld. You're not a big fan of the underworld. You're not a big fan of dealing with the shadow. You have to feel super, super grounded before you will ever step foot with your shadow self anywhere. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but it also can hold you up a lot. And it's in the second house, which is all of your shadow work in this life are tied to your worth, like what you think you're worth. So you do an intense amount of shadow work when it comes to not so much keeping up with the Joneses, but what you feel like to Ashley keeping up with Ashley. There we go. Because what you feel like you need as far as like your car, your house, your job, the things that you feel make you successful, that's where your shadow work lies. The other thing about the second house is that this is also tied to your need for spiritual survival. And so when you feel like you're being stifled spiritually, you feel claustrophobic and you freak out. Instead of just being like, okay, well, I'll pick it up later somewhere else. You freak out. Like you cannot handle being stifled spiritually at all in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so let me look at your Pegasus. Your Pegasus, which is also Genevieve, is in retrograde when you were born. Okay, so it's in Virgo, which is being able to very precisely navigate into the spiritual realm, the astral, any of those things. But being in retrograde, your compass is broken, basically. Being in the 6th house, this is also a lot of rescue work. So like stuff like I do over there, like going to rescue people and being in service over there and so on. But your compass is broken. So you haven't figured out how to do that. You want to learn how to do it. It's also contraparallel to your Hecate, which is another arguing factor. You're being blocked from doing it. Why are you being blocked from doing it? Your Neptune is in Capricorn, which is, you are very, very structured with how you see your spiritual self, spirituality, mysticism, etc. And this being in the 10th house, this is a public spiritual role. I also find this very interesting right here. So what I'm going to say about all of this, because you see that really gorgeous like sideways diamond right there, how it's pointed right here at your moon, right? And these two in particular are like hand in hand right there together. Miss Ashley, you, my friend, are 100% what I would consider a shadow walker. With those two really intense Pisces placements up there in that 12th house, this is not only a lot of emotion, but it's a lot of like, you just see, feel, know, like your clairs are ultra sharp because of those two placements. Pisces in the 12th house, they're tied in with your moon. Now granted they're arguing, but they're tied in with your moon. So that moon being in Virgo, which is a very, very grounded earth sign, allows you to take a look at all of the aspects of all the aspects of what you are seeing, what you're picking up with your clairs, and process it at a better rate. The problem comes because that being in Virgo, you process it and then argue with yourself about it. Is that really what that said? Is that really what I saw? Did I really just see some weird shadow bug thing skitter over there? Did I really just see a person? Like, you really reconstruct all of the things. You know what I mean? You overthink and pay. Oh God. You know that you're meant to be doing a lot of work in the astral. You know you're meant to be helping people out spiritually and in the astral, helping them survive stuff, helping them get out of stuff. But your compass is broken. You turned it off. Like, it doesn't even connect. Look, it doesn't even connect. My advice is going to be this. You doubt yourself a lot. My advice is going to be this. Here's a way you can start kind of feeling like you're better at this than you give yourself credit for. Because you are. You're way better at all of these things. Your clairs are intensive. You would also be what somebody would call a seer. So everybody has heard of a seer. It's in every single culture. So you're like a seer. Your dreams, your feels, etc. Start making a note on your phone, on whatever. Whenever you really look at stuff, and whether it's a dream, whether it's, I just know this is going to happen, or a vision or anything like that. You hear something, write it down. Write it down in this little notepad, okay? Time it. Like, it's, the 2nd of, or the 3rd of February at 7:45 at night. I saw, this green truck and my uncle, and for some reason, a dog and whatever. Write that down. Make sure that you date it and make sure that you time it. Or the other thing that I recommend to people is set up a second email address that is only for this type of stuff, because then you have an automatic time and date stamp on that email that you can't change, right? So somebody can't go in your phone and change the dates or whatever. So do that, because that way, whenever you start to go, okay, you know, maybe 3 or 4 days goes by and your uncle calls and it's like, man, I watched a green truck hit a dog or something and I had to go help the dog. Okay, that was 3 days ago. So you know that you get that. It gives you instant confirmation, like, okay, I did see that. Now I know why I saw the pieces I saw. It gives you a timeline of how long your gift gives you before you see these things. And it also helps to build your confidence up, right? The other thing I'm going to say about this is you need to find someone who is well-versed in astral travel, because you have a natural ability to cross the veil. You have a natural ability to see across the veil. You have a natural ability to want to help people across the veil, but without having a solid compass. You have all the power, you have all the gifts, you have all the drive, you have all the want to, but without having a solid compass, both of those placements being in retrograde there, my hand is cold, so I keep putting it in my sleep. You need to find somebody that can teach you how to get in and out of the astral safely and how to get in and out where you need to go. Because having a broken compass over there is horrible. It's horrible. Like, I'm sorry. That's bullshit. That's utter bullshit. You need to find someone that can teach you how to get in and out of those liminal spaces easily. Once you know how to do it easily, once you know how to do it safely, then you can get in and out at any time. And it's just a matter of landmarks and the feel of it. It's not, landmarks isn't really the right word. It's like a feeling. You know that you're in the lower realms because it has a specific look to it, but the feeling of it. You know you're in the higher realms because it has a specific feeling. Do you see what I'm saying? So, find someone that can teach you how to get in and out of the astral safely. You have an intense, immense amount of power sitting right here. That Kali placement, that is an intense, like undeniable, intense amount of power sitting in that 12th house. You also need to learn how to get in and out of the astral safely, because when you realize that you can go in and out, even though your compass is broken, that you can go in and out, that is a whole massive level of freedom, right? And having kind of infinite power at your fingertips, you have to learn how, when, where, etc. to use that, because that will draw all of the nasties to you. It's going to do it in the astral, and it's going to do it here in real life. So having that Kali placement in your 12th house with that kind of infinite power, and having your Hecate placement in the 12th house in Pisces is another spiritual aspect. Kali is like your Kundalini placement, right? And then Hecate is your magical placement. So those two things right there are going to draw people to you. You have this weird, it's not even charisma. I don't even know. You just have this weird draw to people. And when they really are able to feed off of that type of magic, that type of energy, they won't leave. They won't leave. This is why you get people that are, they just will not leave you alone. They still message you 2, 3, 4, 10 years down the road wanting to know how you're doing. Yeah, fuck off. You call it a light. Yeah, so see, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So when I'm telling you this, you're going, that's exactly what it is. People that have a very strong Kali placement, a very strong Kundalini placement, you are always going to draw people to you. The other thing I would say, because your sun is in your first house, and that is the self, you're very acutely in tune with these placements. You feel them on a constant basis. You probably feel crazy on a constant basis. Having an Aries rising that also exudes a lot of power, you're going to draw people to you because of that. You're going to draw people to you because of that Virgo moon, that kind of emotionless, aspect of looking at things like a Vulcan very logically. Those are actually two very amazing placements that will help you tremendously, both in your magic and in the astral. It'll help you navigate your shadow. It'll help you navigate the map. It'll help you navigate your own magic. The other thing that I want to say before I shoot up, the other thing I want to say is knowing that your compass is broken is power. Knowing that you hold all of that power magically and so on, and that you just need to learn how and when to use it correctly is power. Knowing that you have these specific placements and knowing that you have this amazing beacon in the middle right here, that is also an intense amount of power. This right here, I would say take a screenshot of this, because this gorgeous diamond in the middle there and those lines are going to be a great, I wouldn't use them exactly because, you know, bitches be bitches. Somebody else going to screenshot this too or whatever. Take it and utilize it and make your own sigil out of it. Okay? To help you travel, to help you become your compass, basically. Start writing everything down. Start writing everything down because it will help you trust yourself. Your gut is always right. The little voice back here is always right. All of those dreams are always right. Do you see what I'm saying? You just don't give yourself enough credit for it. And being a Taurus, you are going to overthink every single little teeny tiny thing ever. You just are. You just are. You're going to second guess yourself. You can hype anybody else up, but you are going to have problems hyping your own self up, which is a natural fix to that unbridled power right there. I would seriously doubt that you're ever going to get in there and start, you know, freaking out, zapping shit in the astral or magically. Seriously, because you're going to sit and overthink, well, what's it going to do to this person or that person or me or, you know, the earth or animals or whatever on a daily basis. Yeah. Yeah. Very intense clairs. Very intense, just innate energy. If you have not learned Reiki, if you have not learned energy healing, if you have not learned any of the healing modalities, girl, you would be a powerhouse at it. You would be a powerhouse at it because of these two placements right here. Because of your Kali and your Hecate. You're naturally in tune with all types of energy work. Also, as far as magically goes, energy, frequencies, manifestation, things that have to do with your clairs that you can use your clairs to do, that is where your magical power completely lies. Not saying that it doesn't lie, you know, that candles aren't a good thing, jars, etc. But with you, energy, frequency, things like that you can do mentally are going to be the powerhouse for you. And that is a very intense gift to have because that's not one that people can undo it. Not Reiki, but you were a massage therapist for 13 years. I bet that you would have people that would fight over you too. Am I wrong? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's funny. I mean, it's nice. It's nice to have people that love you that much, but I mean, this is why. This is why you, I guarantee you, would change entire people's lives with this. Just being around them. I would bet you're also a narcissistic magnet too. Am I wrong? Damn, okay. Oh, stop it. I don't want to move too many things around. I just want to move that. I just want to move that. I just want to move that. Yeah. That is interesting. This is Miss Natalia's. Actually, you're usually on YouTube, aren't you? Hold on. Let me make sure to pull that up so I can see your wordy words. Here we go. I really need to hook up my other monitor. I didn't realize how much I use that, and it's just sitting there all lonely. So that's going to be a tomorrow project, not tonight. It'll be a tomorrow project. All right, so let's look here. So Sun in the 9th house, Moon in the 9th house, both in Capricorn. Neptune in Capricorn in the 10th. Is that the 10th? Yes. So Neptune in Capricorn is very structured. That's very structured. You are definitely, I would almost guarantee you that you have a lot of Orion placements. The 10th house is interesting because that is also a very public spiritual role. Kali and Libra, very balanced. That goes very well with that Neptune placement. 7th house is, oh, you're a mirror. You're a mirror. So let me explain to you guys what a mirror is. When you know you're a mirror, it's fantastic. If you don't know you're a mirror, it can get out of hand really quickly. So when you're a mirror, what that is when someone comes to you, right? You make a friend, okay? Suddenly, you know, like you are that person that everybody feels like they instantly know, okay? They either instantly know you or they instantly hate you. They feel like they've known you forever or they instantly hate you, right? The ones that instantly know you, you have to be very careful with that, because when you're a mirror, you'll be friends, you'll start hanging out, they'll want to hang out with you all the time. It's like a crazy love dump, right? They'll hang out with you all the time. They want to ask you all these questions. They want to get to know you and vice versa, right? You want to get to know them and you're so excited you have a new friend and so on. The problem comes when they suddenly start dressing like you. They start acting like you. They start wearing the same makeup you wear. They start liking the same things you like. They start doing the same spiritual shit that you do. They've never ever done that before, but now they do. Then if they get too close, they start getting your abilities. So let's say that on top of being a mirror, let's say that you are a medium and that you are someone that physically sees the person in front of them. That person suddenly is going to catch mediumship abilities and then think that they're a medium because they suddenly have mediumship abilities. But the minute that you two stop hanging out, those abilities go away really quickly. Now, the cool thing about this is that being a mirror, if you know you're a mirror, and having this placement in Libra is a very, very good one. Well, it's got good and it's bad. It's got good in that you're always looking for balance, and if someone oversteps those friend lines, you back up really quick. But bad in that you also want everybody to like you, so you amp that up a little bit. But when it comes to being a mirror, it's in opposition with your ascendant. Oh, you're a shadow mirror. You're a shadow mirror. You don't so much mirror people's gifts back to them. You mirror their shadow. See how it's in conjunction with your descendant, but in opposition with your ascendant. You mirror their shadow back to them. So they feel a very deep emotional connection to you until they don't. until they get really mad. And okay. So I would bet you lose people in crazy ways. Okay. Okay. Your Hecate placement is in Scorpio, which is a lot of forbidden thresholds, a lot of death crossings. So death deities are going to be circling around you like crazy. Seventh house is all about relationship crossings, so ancestral crossings. So your magic lies in ancestral work. Your main magic lies in ancestor work. Not just your ancestors, but you have a direct line to all of them. You have a direct line to, like, if you ever wanted to work with clients with ancestor work, you would have a very easy time helping them with ancestors. The fact that this is also in tune right here with your descendant, you can help a lot of people through the shadowy aspects of ancestor work. So those that have really shitty ancestors that are trying to get them to do shit they shouldn't do. Those are all fantastic things to help clients with. Let me not get too stuck in here. I need to see what that Pegasus placement is. Capricorn, which is very structured, and then you have your ninth house, which is interdimensional travel. Okay. Nope. And your Hades. Structured underworld hierarchies, which, again, death deities seem to like you. My friend, you are an amazingly, amazingly powerful ancestral beacon. I mean, hell, the middle of this even looks like a fucking beacon. You are an amazingly powerful ancestral beacon. You need to find someone who can help train you in doing ancestor work. You can start, though, by making sure that you're doing your own ancestor work, doing a lot of it. Start to open communication with a lot of the death deities, a lot of the underworld deities, Hades, Hecate, Osiris, Anubis, Hell, things like that. There are a lot. There are a lot. You're going to have a natural rapport with them. So what's good about that is... Don't watch me yawn. What's good about that is that having a natural rapport with death deities and having a natural rapport with ancestors means that you are going to be fantastic at healing work. You're going to be fantastic at yanking people back from the brink. The problem is that comes with a very intensive cost to your meat sack physically. You have to leave something over there to trade. And usually it's a little tiny piece of your energy that you don't get back. But you're also amazingly talented in traversing into the lower realms. The lower realms are where a lot of the more nasty things are. But that's also where the Akashic records are. That's where the main entrance to the Akashic records is in the lower realms. So I would say that you probably have a natural gift or have already been granted access to the Akashic records. I know that there are people out there on yay old Talk that like to tell everybody that you can get into the Akashic records. You can't. You can't. You fuck up you get in, you fuck up one time, you're out. You don't ever get back in. But not everybody can get into the Akashic records. You usually are allowed to get into your own Akashic records once. once. And if you're not ready for that, you also don't get an appointment, time, or date. You just suddenly find yourself there. And so if you're not ready for that, then you don't know the right things to ask. You don't know the right things to find out. After that, you're usually not allowed back in unless you go through the steps and go through the process of being respectful and getting into the Akashic Records. So for those of you guys that don't know what the Akashic Records are, the Akashic Records are the records of your soul. It will hold the record of your soul in this life, in this meat sack that you're in now, and it will hold the record for every single life that you're going to have. So imagine that times everybody, every soul that ever existed. And that's not just here on Earth either. That is an immense library. There are beings that govern it. There are the librarians, there are the keepers, there are the watchers, etc. I teach classes on this if you guys want to learn more. But not everyone is allowed into the Akashic Records. I know people that I can't understand why they're not allowed in. They are a spiritual powerhouse. It's amazing. Like, it's crazy the things that they can do, but they're not allowed in. It's fucking weird. And then I know people that I'm like, what the fuck are you allowing them in there for? They can get in. I don't get it. There's no rhyme or reason. It has something to do with whatever code your soul carries. I know people that have been trying to get into the Akashic Records for a decade or more. They go, they visit, they sit there in the waiting room, and they never get invited in. But they're still going and still trying. And sometimes that alone is enough, that sheer willpower is enough to get you access. But not everybody has access to the Akashic Records. The people that tell you that everybody has access to the Akashic Records are probably working with something over there that is doing something false. Like they have made a deal with a being that's saying, I'm giving you access to the Akashic Records, when they don't have access to the Akashic Records. There are so many trickster spirits over there, it's not even funny. And there are a lot of people that get tricked very easily because they just want that power and to say that they can do it and so on. Do you know how long it took me to get into the Akashic Records? 7 years. 7 fucking years. 7 years. I got trained how to get in, and 7 fucking years of me trying constantly, at least every 3 weeks to a month, of going, paying my respects, sitting there, and then getting kicked out. 7 fucking years. That's how long it took me to get into the Akashic Records. Some people get in right away. There are so many trickster spirits over there. I went off on that little rant because I think that you are naturally attuned to get into the Akashic Records. All of these Capricorn placements in that 9th house, and then having your Neptune placement in Capricorn in the 10th house, all of that is so structured. Like, my friend, that's like, you're straight up a fucking Vulcan. That is all very structured. I would say that you have a natural gift for this. So, find somebody to teach you how to get into the Akashic Records. Learn more about being a spiritual mirror, because you 100% are. And you're a shadow mirror. So you're going to amplify people's shadow aspects. So they're going to project onto you the bad parts of themselves. So let's say that they are very, I don't know, let's say they're a cheater, right? You've never cheated in your entire life. But because you're a shadow mirror and because they're hiding that from everybody else, they're going to project onto you that you're a cheater. So learn about being a mirror, learn how to protect yourself, and learn about being a shadow mirror. Yeah, learn how to handle that, not how to be that, because you already are. Learn how to handle that, if that makes sense, Natalia. All right, so let me make my list bigger so I can see what's going on. Katie. Have I done a chart for you, Katie? I'm going to say I probably haven't. I have not. Okay, good. That works out. I have like some weird little fuzzy in my eyeball. I can see it only sometimes when I blink. Don't piss me off. No. Don't look. This is wrong. So once that goes away, I can edit it. I went to click on where you were born, and it said no. It gave me a different one, so we gonna fix it. All right, there we go. Pacha! There we go. There you are. There you are. So let me fix this. Let me fix this. Let me get my cheat sheet out. I had to make a cheat sheet of all of these, so. I don't know where I just was there. All right. Libra with a Gemini moon and a Taurus rising. So you seem super structured until you get emotional. Oh, and you get emotional over money. You get really emotional over money. Okay, noted. Don't fuck with Katie's money, okay? Don't fuck with her money. She gonna straight up backhand you. Oh yeah, and that Taurus rising. Yeah, don't fuck with Katie's money. That's funny. No. All right. Let's see here. So you have your Pegasus placement in the second house. I'm looking for your Kali placement first. Kali placement. So you have your Kali placement in Virgo in the 5th house. So Virgo is, precise power control. So you have precise control over your Kundalini, and I like that it's tied in with your moon. So you really, your Gemini moon is a lot more interesting. This is why it doesn't feel like a true Gemini moon. Because you have precise control over it. So I would bet that people accuse you of being cold all the time, because when you shut your funnel of energy off to a person, a thing, etc., that's it. Like it's wow. Okay. And then that is in your 5th house. Oh, girl. That's a lot of creativity. Okay. That's a lot of creating in the astral. Your Hades is in Sagittarius in the 9th house. So Hades in Sagittarius, that's a lot of like archetypal aspects. And then being in the 9th house, you're really, really drawn to water, aren't you? I would bet you're obsessed with mermaids. I would bet that you love the Atlantean myth. I would bet that you love anything at all that has to do with the ocean, with water, with lakes, with underwater stuff. I would bet you love all of that. I would bet as a kid, you wanted to be a mermaid so bad you couldn't stand yourself. Yes. So your Hecate is in Libra, which is ethical, very ethical practices, karmic gates, and the gates of liminal spaces. And then being in the 6th house, that's a lot of keeper roles right there. That is a lot of keeper roles, and it's tied into this. Do you often have dreams about being underwater, out of curiosity? Pegasus and Gemini, teleportation and flicker travel. No, you don't have dreams anymore. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. And then it is in your 2nd house, so you have a strong return cord. Okay, so looking at all of these things right here, this is a very intense amount of energy, of liminal gates, of threshold work. This is a lot of, okay, first of all, your magic lies in warding and protection, because this is a lot of threshold work. This is a lot of doorways, gateways, etc. Anytime that you can make a symbolic gateway or doorway to step through, whether it's in real life in magic or whether it is in the astral, that's that space, that liminal space. Like when you're standing in a doorway, right? You have both feet on that threshold of the doorway. So you're technically not in the room and technically not outside. That is a very intense, powerful liminal space. And the fact that your Kali is in a very creative sign, it's in the 5th house, you could literally stand in the threshold of that door and decide exactly where you want to go on the other side. That's where your power lies, is in threshold work. That's a lot of warding. It's a lot of sigils. It's a lot of, especially with that creativity aspect, it's a lot of color magic. It's a lot of doorway magic, gateway magic. Keys are your best friend. If I were you, for Valentine's Day, I would find on eBay or somewhere an old ass skeleton key that you're just drawn to, and you need to turn it into a pendant and keep that bitch on you at all times. Dedicate that to yourself. That is your key to get wherever you need to go. The fact that your Pegasus is a very strong cord return, and the fact that it's teleportation, I can't say enough how in tune you are with that. So I would be willing to bet the reason you don't dream anymore is because you travel. You automatically find doorways, gateways, portals, etc. You're very drawn to places that have natural portals in them. You're very drawn to ley lines. You're very drawn to places that have a lot of quartz in them. You're very drawn to any type of crystal or frequency that allows you to teleport somewhere. You are one of those people in the astral that you travel, you'll flicker here, and then you flicker here, and then you flicker here, and then you flicker here. So I'm willing to bet that you're exhausted when you wake up most nights. That you go to bed, you're exhausted when you go to bed, right? You've had a long day, you're exhausted, you sleep. And I would bet that probably 9 times out of 10, when you wake up, your legs hurt. Like you feel like you've been everywhere and nowhere at the same time. That's why you feel like you never get sleep, because you are constant, like you're an explorer. You're constantly flickering in and out over there, wherever you want to go. You're just playing with it. My other suggestion is going to be this. Buy yourself a compass to put beside your bed. It's more symbolic than it is for actual use. I would get one. I mean, if you want to get just a cheap one at the dollar store, that's fine. I personally would look for one. I mean, on Amazon, you can find the ornate ones pretty cheap, right? I would find you one that speaks to you. So a skeleton key, an old school, old ass skeleton key. One that actually unlocked doors, okay, not a reproduction, one that actually unlocked doors, and then a compass, because that is what you need to get back to being able to dream, to get back to the water world that you used to love to visit so much. You're naturally in tune with all of the water. You're naturally in tune with Atlantean things, with mermaid aspects, things like that. Falling down the rabbit hole of the Atlantean magic as well. That's also a lot of sigils, a lot of warding, a lot of design work, things like that. Fractals are going to be something that really call you as well. Sacred geometry, yes, but it's more of a scientific based sacred geometry, which is why I said fractals. But I would actually really like skeleton keys and want a doorknob in your house that would have. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I think that's funny that I just looked up in time to see that you are already drawn to skeleton keys. Girl, a skeleton key that is just yours, that you dedicate for this type of work right here, and a compass that you dedicate for this type of work right here, will unlock your ability to remember. Does that make sense? Because right now you just travel because you just blink everywhere. Oh, I'm going to go here. 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 It's why some nights you wake up frustrated as shit. Some nights you wake up mad. Some nights you wake up ecstatic, but you can't remember any of it. That's why. Because you don't have a way to tether yourself here. I would also advise taking a screenshot of the middle of this and creating yourself a sigil out of a form of this right here. Because that will help you as well. But get yourself a compass. Get yourself a compass. And it needs to go beside your bed. Like I said, it's more symbolic than anything. So if you find some old ornate one somewhere that, you know, maybe it's broken or doesn't really work right anymore, that's fine. That's fine. It's more symbolic. But having that you dedicate to you. And then my other advice is going to be watch documentaries on Atlantis. Watch documentaries, cartoons, whatever on Atlantis. Watch the old, I guess it Disney? I don't know. Watch the old cartoon movie Atlantis. Seriously. Those things to help tie you back to that water aspect. Any documentaries on ocean life, anything about, you know, mermaids, etc., sirens, the Odyssey would be a good thing to like anything that's going to reconnect you with that will also help you reconnect with that water aspect. Threshold work is very, very interesting. And I want to talk about this real quick before, you know, and I love that you're like, this is crazy. Threshold work is very interesting and it is very important. It means that you are very good at protecting buildings, places, things like that. You're very good at protections. So that also includes weather protections. It includes health protections. It includes anything for anyone that would go inside that building, that house. And the other thing I want to remind you too is that driveways, the end of a driveway where a driveway meets a street is also a threshold. Just saying. It's also a threshold. Just saying. And I love that all that made sense. Mm-hmm. So start falling down the rabbit hole of what threshold work is. Okay? Because it's going to do you a lot of good. And I don't think it's going to take long. And you're remembering where you're going, getting where you want to go on purpose. Yeah. The Little Mermaid was your favorite when you were little. Mm-hmm. Of course. Of course. Midnight is a time threshold, yes. So it's good to point that out. With her doing threshold work, especially physical threshold work, because that's where a lot of this lies, doorways are going to be one of your most important portals. Something that you can physically step through is going to be one of your most important portals. There are a lot of different things that are considered thresholds. I would start with the physical things in kind of learning those aspects. Those are the things that will help you train for the others. Don't start worrying about time and all of those things yet. Master, I keep my doors over there. Master the physical doorways first, which it's going to be really easy for you. It's going to be super easy for you. Super easy for you. You are so welcome. All right. Laona. I am pretty sure I pulled your chart. Let me get my little thing back out. I'm going to do Laona's, and then I'm going to take just a minute break and go get some ibuprofen. I feel like somebody trying to push my eyeballs out my face. It's dumb. It's dumb. I realized some of you guys are going to, oh, hey, Sonia, well, welcome in. Some of you guys are going to identify with this really deeply, but I realized stupidly that I have been in the middle of a silent migraine attack for almost 3 weeks. I couldn't figure out the other day, and when I finally realized it, I was like, fuck. So I would get rid of it and then not do what I needed to do and rest completely and get the rebound headache from it. So that's been fun. For you guys, those of you guys that don't know, a silent migraine is stupid. It is absolutely stupid because you have all of the symptoms but none of the pain with it. So therefore you think that you just have a cold, or you think that you got sinuses, or you think that, you know, whatever, but it's a fucking migraine. And so if you can't get rid of it, if you don't know that it's a migraine and you can't get rid of it, it just keeps on rebounding and you're just in the cycle, and it's dumb. It's absolutely dumb. Yeah, it's absolutely dumb. Natalia, yours is one of the first ones on here, but you can go back and watch it. You can rewind on YouTube live and watch it. All right. Laona, let's see. Go up here. So let's start with your Neptune, which is in Sagittarius, which is vision, prophetic visions, and it's in the 11th house. So you do a lot of dream work because the 11th house is dream walking. The 11th house is a lot of dream work, but it's in retrograde, meaning somehow you've been blocked from that. Okay. Sun and Gemini in the 4th house. You do a lot of protective dream work. Okay. Hades is in Leo, which is confronting the shadows. It is in the 7th house. Okay, I had to look to make sure. And encountering shadows through others. Pegasus in Gemini, which is that transportation. It's in the 5th house, okay. And that is astral creation. Kali is in the 4th house, and Taurus. Which is endurance. Near indestructible form is what I wrote. Ancestral or inner power source. Okay. Hecate and Taurus is locking gates. Third house is spoken or written portals. What was your Pegasus again? That is Hades. There it is. You, my friend, you know how I said, I was talking about the dream work up there. I would be willing to bet that as a kid you did dream walk, that you did a lot of dream walking. But I don't think that you did it to help friends. I don't think that you did it to, like, I think that you probably had very, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that you probably had very intense dreams about people showing you things. I would bet that you still have intense dreams, and I would be willing to bet that there's a specific older lady that you don't know who she is, but you've seen her throughout your entire life helping you. I also would bet that, I don't know the right term to put on this. You are someone that you have this natural gift and natural ability to stop entities, to stop things from coming through. So it's not so much a warden, it's not so much a gatekeeper. Like, it is, both of those terms fit, but you don't just close a gate, you move the gate. Like, you'll close it, but then you hide the fucking gate. So whatever that is cannot get back through. So what sucks about that Neptune being in retrograde is you can't do this for yourself. You can do it for everyone else. And if you care about them, because of that Gemini aspect and that Taurus moon, if you care about them, you automatically do it for them. This though. Yes for intense dreams, and yes for the older lady. Okay, so you knew exactly who I was talking about. All right. Most of the time she has like gray, white hair, yeah? She also has like darker tan skin, like the really nice deep wrinkles, like she looks like she just looks old and powerful. Am I right? Laona, the other thing I want to talk about is this placement right here. Because the only thing that your Kali placement is tied into is your ascendant. Damn it. That's it. Okay? Your Kali placement is very interesting because it being in Taurus, that is a near indestructible form. In the 4th house is that ancestral or inner power source. That is this older lady. Okay, she's not the power source. You are that source. But she is the one, she is that ancestral tie that's teaching you how to do these things. So when she shows up in your dreams, it's important. It's not just that she's coming to you to visit, she's coming to you to train you. So that's why you've seen her through your entire life. I also feel like, for some reason, I could see her pretty plainly. And I feel crazy, and it's great. She shows up sometimes in very, I would say, disarming form. Like, she might have just a plain like sack on, you know, like just very plain clothes, very nondescript clothes. And other times she shows up in like this crazy full regalia. She's your trainer, basically. I would be willing to bet, I don't know if you have people, older people in your family that are alive that you can ask about this, but ask about your family lineage. Ask about where your grandmothers came from, because this is a maternal thing that's been passed down. So even if it comes from your father's side, it's something passed down to the women. Okay. But this is intense, and this is a very, very deep protective format. Your magic lies insanely in protections. I also want to talk about the dream aspects with you. I would be willing to bet that a lot of your dreams that you have, that you remember, are you rescuing somebody, protecting somebody, pulling someone out of something. I would also be willing to bet you are that person that you have to have every single thing. You have to have every single thing ready. You know, you're not a traditional Gemini in the fact that if you feel like you need to have 4 tubes of Neosporin and 10 boxes of Band-Aids in the cabinet, that's what you're going to have. If you feel like you need to stock up on rubbing alcohol, like you intuitively grab things that are either going to heal people or protect people. I would also be willing to bet that you always have some weird kind of, well, if this happens, I can stab this motherfucker with a pin, or like you always have these. You see in your mind all of the things that you need to do to protect yourself, and spiritually you are naturally drawn to protections. because you have this almost indestructible form, especially when it comes to the astral, you are going to automatically kind of garner respect over there with a lot of the beings that would just, trounce somebody else that doesn't carry that form with them. The problem comes in that having that form, that's also a lot of power. That's a lot of unbridled power. Yes, all of these details are spot on. It's my core. You've always been the mom and think all the possibilities out. This is a lot of unbridled power. And so I would doubt that you travel on accident. I think that anytime you go, you travel on purpose with a purpose. Maybe you're really, really worried about a kid that you love, right? You're really worried about that kid going to school or for a test or for whatever the fuck it is. And you will on purpose travel. It's like you lay out all the things magically on the astral to protect that kid, and then you come back. You don't ever just willy-nilly travel, I would start learning protections. All of them. All of them. You're going to be naturally good at all of them. Start with a base of where your family comes from. Start with that base. That's why I said ask about that first. Start with that base because those are the ones you need to build the backbone on. I would guarantee you that once you start learning all these different protections, that you already do them. I would bet that you already do the vast majority of them. Out of nowhere, you already do it, right? And then I would branch out to what calls you next. Because there's always going to be something that you're drawn to, right? Trust your gut. So let's just say your family all comes from Mexico. Find out where in Mexico they come from. Because are they Aztec? Are they Mayan? Are they Incan? Do you see? Find out where that ancestral tie lies. And once you find that out, start learning what did they do for protections? What did they do for protections? And then branch out, okay? So now that you know, let's say they were Aztec, okay? So you start learning Aztec protections. And once you have those down, then you branch out to like Mexican traditional protections. And then once you kind of are comfortable with those, and to be honest, I don't think it's going to take you very long for each one. I think that you're going to pick it up like this. And then branch out. Like, let's say the thing that you're drawn to next would be, I don't know, maybe the Celts, right? So start learning Celtic protections and so on. And when I say this, I know some of you guys I know that there's people watching, sorry, I didn't mean to roll my eyes so loud, that are like, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. Learning protections, learning what other cultures do for protections, if you do protection work, is key, or you're not going to know how to protect those people. So let's say that, Laona, you are insanely talented at protections. Insanely talented at protections. So let's say you start doing work for clients, and you have a client come to you who their ancestry is Irish. You need to know what the Irish use for protections. Because even though they came to you for your expertise, you still need to know what it is, or at least have a book, a reference to be like, okay, well, let me see. That is what I highly recommend. Start diving down the realm of protections. Learn everything you can. Start gathering your library. And I'm not going to lie, having a library, a physical book that you can make notes in and things like that is always going to serve you better, because if the internet's out or the electric's out or whatever and somebody needs help right now, like I got a booger in my closet and I don't know what the fuck to do, I'm just saying. But start learning all the protections that you can, and when that lady appears in your dreams, learn every single thing you can. Learn every single thing you can. Don't stress about writing it down when you come back. Don't stress about remembering it. You're not going to forget it, I promise. I promise. She's been teaching you your entire life. You're not going to forget it. At all. Does that make sense? You're a powerhouse when it comes to protections, when it comes to ancestor work, when it comes to driving away shadows. You are also somebody, let me say this too, you are also somebody that's going to be very good at exorcisms. And I don't mean like full Catholic exorcisms. I mean removing negative energy from a space, removing negative energy from a car or a house or a person or whatever. Just saying. This is why people always feel safe with you, because they know they can feel what you are. They know what you are. So they always feel safe with you. I'm glad all of this is alignment, and it's all exactly what you needed to hear. I'm so glad. Oh, I was like, wait, what's going on? Hold on. All right, let's see here. And Miss Brandi is next. All right, so let me go get some ibuprofen, because if I don't, my brain is gonna melt. So let me do that, and I'm also gonna take a really quick potty break, and then we'll come back and it'll be Brandi next. So yeah, yes, I'm enjoying doing these. Y'all have no idea how I'm gonna fall down the rabbit hole later with everybody that I know. I pulled mine the other day. I pulled my kids the other day, like things like that. But I'm realizing that there's a couple people that I know really well that I didn't pull theirs yet. So anyway, all right. Let me take this so it doesn't scream at me, because it's gonna. All right. You guys have about 2 minutes, if that. If that. Yeah. Are you boys okay? I'm coming back in here. I'm coming back in here. Making a lunch date with my dad on Thursday. They are, aren't they? Aren't they, Denise? I also had to grab me a snacky snack. So I had to go help my kid with some stuff today in Stillwater, and took her to Eskimo Joe's for lunch. Yeah. Not mad about it. Not mad about it. All right, Miss Brandi. What's up with all you Geminis? Why is this Gemini night? And this is like the third Gemini tonight? Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Oh, Brett, yeah. Stillwater's an hour and a half that way, toward Oklahoma City. But I will say that I did, on the way home, I'm on the phone with Sass. I'm like, I need cookies. I need cookies. And I found a place called Twisted Sugar. They have key lime pie cookies. They have, I repeat, key lime pie cookies. They must have been out of the banana cream pie cookies, or I didn't get one. I could have sworn I got one. But, yeah, it was so, everything I got was so good. Their cookies and cream was good. They have a chocolate chip strawberry cookie with chocolate drizzle. Fuck around. So good. So good. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. They're so good, man. I'm not gonna lie. I fought the urge to grab one. I was like, no, you should try to eat some kind of dinner. All right, Miss Brandy. Thank you for being patient with me. I appreciate it. Past. I have got to go get my phone traded in. I hate this phone. All right. Let's see. Let's start with your Neptune. How is yours in the 11th house in retrograde too? Y'all must have been born pretty close to the same year. I didn't pay attention. So Neptune in the 11th house is dream work. Neptune in Capricorn is very structured, so structured dream work. But yours is also in retrograde, meaning that you've been kept out of it. Your Hades placement is also in retrograde. It's in Libra, mediating between light and dark, and encountering shadow through others. You absorb shadows. Girl, you absorb other people's shadows. Okay. Intentional astral creation. And you're very radiant and astral. Ma'am. Ma'am. We're gonna have to talk. We're gonna have to talk. We gotta bulk you up. We gotta pull a Haunts and Fronts and pump you up. 4th house is home, land, ancestors, gates, and cancers, ancestral and domestic thresholds. And then your Kali in the 1st house is a very strong astral form, natural authority, and Aries is explosive forces. Okay. First of all, You absorb other people's shadows. You do. You absorb other people's shadows. This is why you have a soft spot for the bad people. You have a soft spot for the bad boys, for the bad girls. Like you, it's not so much that you are that person like, oh, I can fix them. You know that you can fix them. And the problem comes from the fact that you absorb their shit. You absorb their shit. If you did not have this placement right here in retrograde, you wouldn't be absorbing it. If you did not have this right here in retrograde, you would be a dream walker and be able to go in and out of things really easily. You have a natural ability to dream walk. You have a natural ability to go in and out, things like that. But this right here is a shit end of the stick. But the other things, the fact that you're this crazy infinite power over here in your astral aspect, and the fact that you are like, you're one of the people, let's say you were on a battlefield, like you would be one of the commanders up there, like you hold that kind of power, personal power. You hold that kind of charisma. The fact that you have a massive placement right here, your magic also lies a lot in ancestor aspects. The fourth house is roots, and then Cancer is a very home-based sign. So like Cancer and the fourth house go like this. So the fact that that's where your magic is. This is also a lot of family magic. And I don't mean like handed down family magic. I mean as in relationship magic, fertility magic, protection of the family, of love, of the hearth, of things like that. Anything at all that you look at with the family itself, that's where your magic lies. So when you have a very strong tie to roots and home and your personal space, and you having your sun sign right here in the second house, tells me that your personal space is like, don't fuck with it, right? The quickest way to piss Brandi off is to fuck with her house. The quickest way to piss Brandi off is to fuck with her desk at work. Like the quickest way to piss you off is to cross that boundary of privacy. Like that is the quickest way for you to hit like level 900 seething anger aspects. Because that is where your magic lies. And that's why you get innately pissed when somebody does that. Literally, and your mom does it all the time. I'm sorry. That is where your magic lies, is your space. So here's what I'm going to recommend, especially if you have somebody that they don't like boundaries. What I'm going to recommend is that you need to, I literally would create you a jar, and this is going to be the easiest jar and the hardest jar that you've ever created. Find an ornate jar. I don't care if it's a brand new one from Hobby of the Lobby, like a really pretty ornate one. And I would get a frosted glass one. Usually over by the candles, they'll have these really pretty like amber colored ones or whatever. Get you a colored one, like really a cool ornate one. And don't just make a snap decision, right? Get one that you're like, oh God, I love this bottle. I love this jar, like whatever, right? So that's going to take you a bit. Like, look for that, okay? You are not going to put anything physical inside of it. What you're going to put inside of it is personal space. I want you to sit. You're going to feel weird, but this is going to help you tremendously. When you're at work, when you're in your car, when you're in your bedroom, when you're at home, when you're, wherever it is that you are, that's your space, right? I want you to just soak up a little bit of that. When you're in your car, I want you to just soak up a little bit of that. And I just want you to just kind of carry it, okay? Same with work, wherever your station is, or your cubicle, your office, your desk, whatever it is. Same with that, right? Everywhere that is yours. Like if you have a specific chair, like this is your chair in the living room, a little bit of that. Right? I want you to pull a little bit of that energy from all of these places. And I want you to take it and I want you to put it in that bottle. So physically, you're not putting something in there. Emotionally, energetically, you are. And then my advice would be to find someplace pretty to set that up out of the way as a piece of decor that no one knows what it is. And I wouldn't tell anybody, okay? I would just find this gorgeous little bottle and you know, you're going to sit with it. Every time you bring a piece home, you're going to open it, you're going to sit with it, put your hand over it, put that part in there. You knowing that part of your personal space is sealed tight where no one can get into it is going to be one of the saving graces for you and allow you to grab hold of this root-based family magic. The other thing I'm going to recommend is this. Even though, you know, mom doesn't pay attention to boundaries or anything like that, or privacy, there's still a lot of protection that comes from mom, right? There's a lot of protection that comes from dad. There's a lot of protection that comes from friends, etc. So take something that is like memory related to you. A time when she protected you from something, a time when she gave you something means a lot. Like that kind of energy, put that in there. You want all of that family magic to go in there. Anytime that you're thinking about, you know, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, somebody that's passed away in the family, ancestors, etc., that needs to go in that bottle. The cool thing about it is you have an infinite amount of space in that bottle. The other cool thing about it is by you having that, this then becomes a talisman. It's not really an amulet, but it then becomes like a talisman for you. So make this bottle as ornate as you want to, okay? Pick the one that speaks to you, not just the first one you see. That's going to help you separate out this other aspect over here of feeling like your space is trounced on, and then this privacy. Because I think once you have this privacy aspect back, that's when that magic is gonna come back out. I feel like I need to say this to you, and I don't know why. Don't stress about dream work. Don't stress about dream walking. I don't know if it's something that you've been trying to do or get into or whatever. Just don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Well, right now. But the fact that your Neptune is in retrograde, you're locked out of it right now on purpose. This though, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that, because that ma'am. Oh, that's so funny. While you're doing EMDR, you had a vision of doing a jar and it reminded you of personal power. So when I'm talking about the jar, you immediately knew what I was talking about. You do have a book on dreaming. I know that it's something that you get obsessed with and you forget. You get obsessed with and you forget. I'm not saying to drop it completely, but right now that doesn't need to be your main focus. Your main focus, this is always going to be a problem. This fucking placement right here. You absorb shadows. You absorb shadows from people. You absorb shadows from animals. You absorb shadows from places. So you go into a haunted place. Ooh, somebody's talking about me. My nose is itching. You go into a haunted place. The bad things there are going to go and be drawn to you like a fucking cop to a donut. Okay? You're going to have to be super, super careful. You need to start really looking at ways of personal warding, not just protection. Son of a bitch. Not just protections, personal warding to keep other people's shadows off of yours. Because the problem is, whenever you have the ability, and it's natural, and you can learn to control it, but you're still going to kind of do it, okay? Whenever you have that ability, you have been soaking in people's shadows as long as you've been alive. You've been soaking in people's shadows since you were a baby. They feel better. They feel better after they talk to you, hang out with you, sit next to you. They feel great. They feel better. You, however, feel like everybody around you is a fucking energy vampire. It's not. It's not them. It's literally you. And it has nothing to do with energy. It has everything to do with their shadow. You're naturally drawn toward giving people advice. You're naturally drawn toward counseling. You're naturally drawn toward helping people with problems, etc. And that is the worst thing that you can do until you are able to get yourself protected. It's a very powerful gift, don't get me wrong, but it's also something that's going to do a lot of damage to you, because eventually you're not going to know where your shadow ends and other people's shadows begin. And I would bet that you already have a problem trying to figure that out. Like, is this my problem? Is this my trauma? Is this my shadow? Or is this something that so-and-so is projecting onto me? They have made it my problem. Their voice has become your own. Yes, exactly. So you're going to have to really, really ward the shit out of yourself, especially because you are a natural at family magic, which, like I said, is love, relationships, etc. I will say this. I like that this is not happy together right here, and here's why. That means people are not going to be able to use obsession workings, love workings against you. That is a good thing. Once you have these protections in place, then this right here, this really powerful astral body will start being a bigger part of your dream work. And that will help you when it comes to getting back into looking at overcoming this aspect right here. Does that make sense? Also, having a Leo moon in the 5th house, your creative outlet is always going to be angry creation. Angry drawing, angry painting, angry writing. That's always going to be like the best thing that you can do. And that's a great way for you to channel some magic too. I'm just saying. Family workings also, family magic, ancestral magic also includes protection. It does. I'm just saying. Literally you, so you already knew it. That's funny. Yeah, go get you a bottle. Go get you a bottle and put your space in it. I promise that you'll feel better and it won't you got so angry you ripped the paper. I mean, there's a talent all its own in that. There's a talent all its own in that. Just saying. I know, I have never pulled a chart for this. I'll bet your angry artwork is also fantastic too, when you don't rip the paper. Or maybe even when you do. All right, this is for Archer. All right, let's see here. If you guys want to get on the list for these, the list tonight is sold out. I don't know about tomorrow night yet. It was getting very close to being sold out. But I will be doing these all week, and for the next 3 days I'll be doing them during the day. Don't stress if you're like, well, I can't be here during the day, but this is like the only one available or whatever. No problem. They're all recorded on YouTube, so if you're in a different time zone, if you're, you know, across the pond, I've done a couple for people in Australia already. You can watch them at any time. And the reason I like that they are something you can watch at any time, so you can go back and be like, oh shit, I forgot where she said my Pegasus placement was, or my Kali placement. Your Kali placement is going to be important for you to remember, because that is where your personal power, your Kundalini power lies. So yeah, just saying. Tomorrow is sold out. Oh, I love that. You use the shredded pieces of paper and glued them on a different paper, all red and black. I'll bet that's really cool as shit, Brandi. I would like to see that. I would like to see that. I had this massive mandala that I did, this Zentangle, that was like a 2-foot by 3-foot piece of paper, right? I worked for 3 weeks on this bitch. I was so proud of it. And then I had the top of my pad closed because I was using these big pieces of Bristol at the top of my pad closed, and I was doing something on top of it, and I cut through it with a X-Acto knife, and I cut all the way down through that damn Zentangle. I almost lost my shit. I'm not kidding. It was one of those times when I realized it. All I did, I was moving the paper back and forth like this, and all I was doing is just laughing. And at the time, you know, my kids were like, oh no, mom's laughing, you know. So I ended up cutting it in pieces and then doing a sculpted canvas and putting it on the canvas. It came out so cool. But yeah, man, I was so mad. I was so like a whole level of upset. Whole level of upset. All right. So, Archer. First of all, we are going, that's some intense fire, man. Dude, this is an intense kid. Whose kid is this? Whose child is this? A Leo with a Sagittarius moon and a Sagittarius rising. Who birthed this intensity? Oh my goodness. This is such an intense kid. Jeez. All right, Neptune. Neptune just barely in Pisces. That's a really pretty placement right there. Neptune in Pisces is total veil immersion. The 4th house is ancestral visions. All right. First of all, in retrograde. This kid has a problem, or, okay, let me say this. This kiddo is going to have a problem when they get older of feeling like they belong with family, right? They're never going to feel like they belong. That Leo aspect, they're always going to overthink it, but this Neptune, the way that it sits with this reading and what we're doing, they're never going to feel like they belong anywhere. They are going to be that kid that stares up at the stars and wants to go home and doesn't know why. Like, they are 100% going to be that kid. At the same time, they touch people on a deep level like they've always known them. There's the Kali. Kali in Leo is commanding presence, radiant dominance. 8th house is extreme astral resilience, survives collapse. Hades in Leo is confronting words, confronting shadows. 9th house as underworld explorer. Gatekeeper. That's a dimensional jumper, but it's in retrograde. All right. So whoever's kiddo Archer is, I was laughing about this being an intense kid, but I was also being serious. This is a very intense kid. This kid not only remembers people from their past lives, they remember places and so on. When they talk about having very scary dreams and they talk about going scary places in their dreams and so on, believe them. Believe them. You need to find someone that can help this kiddo find their tether, because the problem with this placement right here, this is the Pegasus placement, and this being in retrograde means that this kid does not have a strong tether to get back. But see how it's literally tied in with all of these? Like, see the opposition? See how it's literally tied in with all of these? Every one of these placements up here is all about rescue. Like, this kiddo right here will end up doing a ton of rescue work, astrally and medically. Like, if I really fully appreciate... Oh, this is your kiddo. Okay, good. This kid right here is words. Let me fix my brain. This kid right here, when they grow up, 100% will want to do something that protects people and helps people. I would not be surprised if they go into either psychiatry, not psychology, but psychiatry, or some type of medical aspect, whether it is just being an emergency, like EMS, EMT worker, or full on like doctor. But this is also going to be a kid that's fascinated with death. They are fascinated with death. What happens? Why do we die? I died. Let me tell you about it. Like, this kid right here is going to spout off all of these things. The fact that this placement is in retrograde fucking sucks, because these are such strong placements for this kid to basically be a rescuer. This kid also has a lot of natural shamanic abilities, which makes sense now with all the fire aspects. But this means that they don't have a strong tether. So he's been waking up freaking out lately. Okay. So he's almost 3. Yeah. My advice is this. Start doing protection aspects before you go to bed. Whatever the nighttime ritual is, add in, I would have a conversation, first of all, about protections in dreams. He needs to know immediately he holds all the power there. These placements right here are intense as fuck. This is gatekeeper energy. This is underworld energy. Like, this kid dives really deep and will naturally dive really deep every time they go to sleep. Thankfully, there's nothing in that 11th house that indicates dream walking, so that's good. But they're going to naturally dive really, really deep into the astral and so on. Their magical gift and ability is astral travel, but it is rescue. It is search and rescue type of things. This is something that they're going to do naturally. And they're going to go over there to rescue a fairy. They're going to go over there to rescue grandma. They're going to go over there, they're going to go over there just to rescue everybody until they get old enough where you can explain to them, like, some people they don't need to be rescued. You know, and I hate to say it that way, but learning what a trickster is, that looks like grandma isn't grandma, you know, Little Red Riding Hood. And so that. But you need to start now getting a bedtime protection ritual in place. He needs to know that he is always in charge over there. These Leo placements, the Kali is Leo, yeah? Yes. Just this placement alone, right there. This is an intense placement. It's tied in with, you know, all of the other asteroids I'm looking at, asteroidal placements. the fact that it's in opposition, this kid is always going to second guess themselves about spiritual stuff. And they're always going to come to you or another adult that they trust to talk to about this, with these nightmares. And just listen. Just listen, right? I will say this. This is a very weird thing, but hear me out, okay? First of all, screenshot this. This right here would be a good symbol just to draw, because notice how it's almost a trident, but it's got two kind of cattywampus lines. This kid right here, something I would recommend is this. Draw whatever it is that he's afraid of over there. Even if it's just the outline, have him draw it for you. Draw it for me. Let me see it. Show me what it looks like. You know, and he's going to get frustrated as shit. Because if he can't draw it perfect, he's going to get frustrated. And that's fine. But just explain to him, like, it doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to see what it looks like. You know? And I work a lot with kids. So if it gets to be bad, just, you know, hey, my friend Bodhi will help you. Right? He needs to pick a tether. He needs to pick his favorite animal as a tether. He needs something very strong that's a tether. And his tether is going to change throughout his life. It might be a tiger one day. It might be a polar bear the next day. But you just need something, a stuffed animal, something that he can hold on to when he sleeps. That's what I would recommend. I would make sure that it's tell him that he needs to pick a very fast animal. Or a very strong animal. An elephant's great, right? An elephant can run through everything. A cheetah is great because cheetahs are real fast. Like, do you see what I mean? An alligator is great because it's going to bite anybody's ass, you know. Things like that. Pick a tether on... I mean, fast is always good to a little kid. That way you can run away really fast, you know. But pick a tether and then get a stuffed animal that he can hold on to at night. One of the things with this is that as he gets older, he is going to ping the interest of a lot of things over there. He probably already is. If he's waking up with bad dreams, he probably already is pinging the interest of the things over there because he keeps going over there. And I would also ask him whenever you're talking about dreams and stuff, I would let him bring it up, okay? And then just say, well, what do you look like in your dreams? And see what he tells you. What does his astral form look like? Is he really big? Is he really strong? Does he have 6 arms? What does his astral self look like? Have those conversations with him. The things over there, you need to make sure you as mom, you need to ward his bed. You need to grid his bed. The legs of his bed, just Sharpie are literally the best way. Clear nail polish is a better way, then nobody else sees it and you don't got to worry about answering questions. Ward the underside of his bed, like the underside of his mattress or, you know, the base of his bed, whatever. Then go to the room itself, the door frames, the windows, etc., and then move out to the hallway and your entire house. And so what sucks is every time you move, you're going to have to reward not just, you know, the doors, but everything in his room and the house and so on, because he's going to bring hitchhikers back. He's going to bring hitchhikers back. And the stronger he gets with this traveling and the stronger he gets with rescue work, the more he's going to come across things over there that he gets pissed, that get pissed. Maybe they came and, you know, maybe he's going to pull you out of a nasty dream one day. He will. He'll 100% pull you out of a nasty dream one day. And so he's got to have something protective holding on to him back at home. And knowing that he's always got protections there, knowing he's got a good tether will keep him safe. And knowing that those things, they can't hurt him. They're going to terrorize him. They're just feeding off of him being scared. That he holds all the power. He sleeps in your bed, but yes, okay, if he sleeps in your bed, then ward your bed. Your bed needs all the warding because he'll have hitchhikers. He'll have hitchhikers. He probably already does. And drawing them, this is why I said drawing them is key. That helps to trap part of them. Because it's not like you can just take a Polaroid and bring the photo back over here, right? but drawing them is a snapshot because he's actively remembering what that thing is, what it looks like, and putting it on paper. And then you can trap it. It's much easier. Put it in a big book and shut it. And make it very symbolic. Let him slam the book. Okay? Make it very symbolic. And if you need any help with it, you message me. Okay? This is a very intense kid. He has very intense gifts. He's always going to be very, very intense. That's his big three are fire. Leo, Sagittarius, Sagittarius. Like, that's a lot. So, I mean, from having 2 Leos, I can just tell you that that's a lot. That's a super intense kid right there. Did that answer, or did it give more questions? I feel like that might have given you more questions. I have a feeling that he's going to end up being a lot like one of my kids that is very intense with traveling. He sure is intense. Christina. For some reason, I didn't have this part in there. Maybe you didn't have it last time. Let's see. Yeah, maybe you didn't have it last time. It shouldn't have changed much, but it probably changed. It changed enough, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely reach out. I have a soft spot for kiddos, man. I do. I have a soft spot for kiddos, especially with that kind of stuff. That's a really pretty sigil in the middle there. There is your Neptune, okay. Another Neptune and Capricorn. Interesting. But yours is not in retrograde. It's not in retrograde. Words. Retrograde. So your Neptune is in Capricorn, which is very structured. And it's in the 8th house of rebirth. So this is a lot of mastery when it comes to the veil and to underworld work. And you're in Aquarius. Why won't it let me do that? Gemini rising. Okay. There's your Kali. Okay. Look at that first. Kali and Taurus. That is just straight out endurance. Near indestructible form. And it's in the 12th house, which is massive power. Dude, you're like a behemoth in the astral. You have more energy than you know what to do with. This is Christina S, by the way. You have more energy than you know what to do with. Hades and Sagittarius, which is a lot of mystical, archetypal aspects. Encounter a lot of shadows through other people. So the 4th house is home and land and ancestors. And then Virgo, which is ritual, precision, and controlled access, but yours is in retrograde. and tied into your Pegasus, which is in the 11th house. Group grid walker. Dissolving into movement. Okay. So what's interesting about this, Christina, is that you have a very interesting set of talents. First of all, you if you're not an energy worker, you need to be. If you're not an energy worker, you need to be. You have a massive amount of energy. You are a massive energy well, and you will always have more energy than you know what to do with, and this is why your brain gets burnt out all the time. That's why your brain gets burnt out all the time. You are an energy worker, good. This is why your brain gets burnt out all the time. Here's the good and the bad with being an energy worker and an energy well at the same time. When you first start energy working, like let's say you first learn Reiki, that helps to dissipate that massive amount of energy. So you feel great, right? And then you build up a tolerance. And so you learn another type of Reiki. And then you feel great. And then, like I've mentioned the energy well before. And you keep building up a tolerance to all these things that you learn. And then once you learn something new, that you kind of even yourself back out. So this is why you get burnt out on stuff really, really easy. You master it really easy, but you get burnt out really, really easy. And being an Aquarius, you can't understand why you get burnt out because you aren't that person that's like obsessive about it, right? I mean, you are in a good way. Like you want to learn all the things and you learn it and you master it and so on. But the interesting thing about this is that for some reason, you have been cut off as far as some ancestral work goes. So even though they're there and even though you can connect with them and even though you do offerings, you know, all that stuff, you feel like you don't get the answers that other people are saying they get. You feel like you don't have such a good, clear communication with your ancestors that other people do. I would say that this is some kind of ancestral karmic issue. Maybe not with you, but this could be like an ancestral curse, ancestral issues. Maybe you had some really shitty ancestor that got everybody banned from talking to each other, like whatever it is. There's some aspect with that. What sucks is that is where your magic lies, is ancestral aspects. The good thing is though, even though you won't be able to do this for yourself, you are a master at doing it for other people. So I would learn how to clear ancestral karma because that is where your magic lies, in helping other people clear this shit. The fact that your Pegasus up here sits in Pisces, which is dissolving into movement, like just very, very carefully you phase in and out. And the 11th house specifically with Pegasus is a grid walker. You are naturally tuned to sacred geometry. You are naturally tuned to making grids, whether you realize it or not. And grids aren't always symmetrical. Grids aren't always matchy, super pretty. Some of the most powerful grids that I've ever done look like shit. Look like shit. They look crazy. They look gross. They look mean. And they're some of the most powerful grids that I've ever came up with. You are a grid walker, meaning that your magic, aside from the ancestral clearing, lies in grids. Your personal power is always going to be stronger when you have a grid going. What is cool about this is if you have a bunch of tumbles, it's so easy to make a grid. If you don't have a bunch of tumbles, I think every other week Hobby Lobby has their mosaic pieces on sale. They have bags of tumbled stones back there. Even if it's just, you know, tumbled obsidian, or if it's just, you know, walnut jasper or whatever. They usually have chunks of amethyst and stuff like that. Go spend $20 or so and get you some things to do that. You don't have to have a special grid board. You can just literally on any table, any surface, whatever. But your natural magic lies in grids. Start with falling down the rabbit hole about what grids are, what they do, how to make them. Most people do them with crystals, right? And that is the base level of grids. You, my dear, you need to look at crystals, herbs, items, colors, all of those things. But start at the base of it. Start learning about crystal grids and go from there. You're going to find very quickly that you pick up making grids and intuitively knowing what you need to put on a table or on a grid to make that grid very powerful. The one thing I want to talk about here, because this is your Hades. And your Hades is in not only the 7th house, which is encountering shadow through others, but it's in Sagittarius. And that is an interesting type of like very whimsical way of looking at magic and the astral and so on. Don't poo-poo that. That's a very, very powerful aspect. A lot of people forget that the mystical doesn't always have to be super scientific, super perfect. And when it comes to grids, it's hard. It's really hard. You're going to fight this. It's really hard to not make everything be symmetrical, to not make, okay, well, I've got 3 pieces of turquoise here, so I need 3 pieces of turquoise here. It's going to be really hard for you not to make it balance out. Oh, you don't have Libra placement, so that's good. But keep in mind, the more whimsical and over the top and gorgeous and flowy this grid is, you are going to benefit from it. Use a lot of flowers. And you don't have to get dried flowers or real flowers or whatever. Go get, you know, a couple of fake flowers from the Dollar Tree or whatever. Use flowers. Use a lot of very whimsical things. Use ivies. Use stickers. Use like all of those things. Get very whimsical, you know, 1980s fairy whimsical with it. Those will be some of the most powerful grids that you will do. You're not going to be someone that is going to be easily swayed by other people's grid work, warding, etc. You're also going to have a really intense natural talent for warding. Sigils a little bit if they fit into what grid you're working on. You might look down at the top of a grid and go, oh, that's a nice sigil, and end up creating a sigil from a grid, but you're gonna always kind of fight with your own self over making sigils because there's no placements in this 5th house. If you had a placement in this 5th house, I'd be like, dude, girl, ma'am, you need to make sure that you're putting a sigil down and making grid on the sigil. For you, that's not going to add too much extra power to yours. The grid itself is what the power is. But you being an energy worker, you being an energy powerhouse and energy well, and then you also having this innate magic when it comes to grids and the whimsical, dude, this is a lot of fae magic right here. This is a lot of fae magic right here. I'm not going to encourage anybody to go work with the fae. Okay, you have to be overly cautious. But any kind of nature magic, gnomes, trolls, things like that, very, very whimsical aspects. I would not be surprised to know that you have always secretly liked fairies, or maybe outwardly liked fairies or whatever as a kid, especially, you know, loving Tinkerbell and things like that. You have probably always loved the fae and things like that. So mythical creatures, cryptids, those are your jam, man. Those are your jam, man. I'm just saying. Remind me, do you do energy work for clients? If not, you should. Spot on. I figured you were all about some fairies and goodies. Yes, okay. Good. I was like, if not, you better be. If not, you better be. Okay. One thing I want to say is, I don't know if you do energy work for clients on Zoom or anything like that, but you can make tiny grids in front of you between yourself and the client. If you do them in person, dude, make a grid underneath your table. Make a grid underneath your table, because that will instantly power everything up for you and for that client. It'll help you channel that energy too. Yeah. That's a really cool talent to have, dude. A lot of people can't grasp grids. I love grids, but a lot of people can't grasp grids. Is that what you needed to know? To help kind of like boost all that stuff to infinity and beyond? I'm really digging these, like, trying, like, seeing what where y'all's magic lie. Words. You know what I'm saying. It's been a long day, man. All right, let's see. Alicia, I've got 2 for you tomorrow. And then Sherry. Okay. Sherry and Dominic. Sherry, I think that I have pulled your chart before, right? Yes. Yes. Your birth date on the event thing has a different year. Is it the one that I have that I pulled your chart for before, right? Or the one on this, right? Because this one has an 8 and not a 7. Just saying. Making sure I got the right one. All right. I just wanted to make sure before I started looking, because I was like, wait, that might make a big difference. All right. So let's start right here. So this is you. We're doing you first and then Dominic. So Neptune in the 2nd house in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is a lot of prophetic vision. Okay. The 2nd house is energy sensitivity. Okay. You instantly know when someone is a good person or a bad person. Okay. There's your Kali. Kali in Aquarius is non-linear power, frequency manipulation. Okay. And the 4th house is ancestral or inner power source. 12th house. Y'all have to forgive me. I'm not trying to yawn on purpose. I've been driving all over the country today in Oklahoma. So a Libra placement. Meeting between light and dark. The 12th house is permanent underworld access, and that's a high risk placement. Okay. And the fact that it's in Libra makes it an even more high risk placement. Okay. Hecate is in Cancer, which is a lot of ancestral aspects. And the 9th house, which is initiations. Okay. Your Pegasus is in retrograde. 7th house is taking other people traveling with you. I knew that was coming. That scared the shit out of me. And in Taurus, which is slow and grounded travel. All right, let me go grab a piece of cookie. I'll be right back. Oh no, I must eat a piece of cookie. Damn, no. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. This is a strawberry chocolate chip. It's so damn good. All right. God, that's so good. Oh, I did try a bite of the banana cream pie one in there. Holy shit balls. Jeez. So good. I love cookies, man. It's so weird. I think cookies have become my favorite dessert as a diabetic because I can like cut them in little bitty slivers, you know? Whereas like a piece of cake, God, I miss chocolate cake so much. But that, if you don't eat it right then, it's kind of gross, you know what I mean? By the time you get to it, it's gross. All right. So you have a natural talent to take other people traveling, but for some reason you're blocked from it. Sometimes that's not a bad thing because people do dumb shit when you take them traveling. You tell them not to touch shit, they touch shit. You tell them not to talk to that thing, they talk to that thing. You know what I mean? So, just saying. Like, sometimes that's not a bad thing. You have a lot of ancestral passed down talents as far as energy work, as far as protections. You look back at this one because my brain forgot. It got short-circuited by cookies. I ordered cookies from Twisted Sugar is the name of the place. Not mad. Not mad at all. Their sugar cookies, their base cookies taste like the ones my mom used to make when I was a kid. So I am not mad at all. Permanent. Yeah, the high access. Okay, high risk. That is, okay, so this placement over here with the Libra in the 12th house, that is probably why you don't have the ability, like, see, it's not even tied together, to take people traveling with you. You have a very intense access to the underworld. You have a permanent underworld access. So that's a very high risk in that it's gotten you in trouble a few times. It's gotten you in trouble a few times with beings over there, with finding yourself way out too far, like things like that. All of that sounds great, Moonlight Kitty. Now we're all going to be hungry. You also having all of these natural energy placements. Like I see why you're drawn to energy work. I see why you're drawn to all of the things that allow you to help other people. I see why you couldn't have sidetracked the spiritual side of life if you tried. You couldn't have tried harder. Like, you could have absolutely been like, absolutely not. I will never learn Reiki. Like, and been a mathematician and still ended up doing Reiki. Like, There's no way. I would say that this is something that it was fated to happen because you have so many ancestral placements that have to do with energy work and ancestral ties. It's funny. I do find it very, very interesting, your Neptune right here. You're very sensitive to energy. That second house placement is being super uber sensitive to energy. And you have a lot of prophetic visions. So one of the side effects of you doing Reiki, and correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the side effects of you doing Reiki is that if you touch someone, whether it's physically or energetically through Zoom or, you know, whatever your chosen platform is, you end up having visions. You end up having prophetic aspects for them. You know, it might be in, you know, well, who is the lady that, you know, looks like blah, 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 blah. And, you know, she always does this and says this and drives this kind of car. And, oh, that's my aunt, you know, and, oh, okay, well, she's about to have a big health scare, you know, like things like that. You always have these kind of prophetic things. And I have a feeling you don't know how to approach them. I think that some people you do. Some people you can just, you know, blurt it out or whatever. You are going to have these, I mean, for the rest of your life. Anytime you energetically connect with someone. Whether it's just sitting holding their hand or, you know, they cried on your shoulder or whatever it is. You're always going to have this. I think that Moon in Capricorn is one of your saving graces with a lot of this, because that Moon in Capricorn is always going to help you take the craziness of emotion out of things. Does that make sense? And by being able to take the emotion out of the emotion, it allows you to be really grounded and logically look through things. So when you're over in this underworld access, when you're over in this access of you always having these visions, you're not going to pull anything back with you. You're not going to make a deal with anything. You're not going to be over there. You're a learner. You're over there to learn all the things. I wouldn't be surprised if you are and have been at different times in your life obsessed with the afterlife, obsessed with life after death, obsessed with heaven and hell and purgatory, obsessed with near-death experiences. Like, I would not be surprised if you're obsessed with that. And like I said, it may not be something that it's your, you know, every single day, but I also would not be surprised to know that you have people that, that you have deities that are around you all the time that either are underworld deities, they're travelers, etc. You also have a lot of natural mediumship abilities and mediumship skills, and they usually tie in with all of that energy work that you do. So when you're doing energy work for someone, you see the things. You see Aunt Cheryl, you see Uncle Joe, you see, you know, all those things. And you're able to channel that and tell the person. It's harder for you to do it in the moment. Like if you're doing just a mediumship read for somebody, it's a little harder. You have to connect with them energetically to be able to do that. I want to touch on that, on this placement right here one more time, because this is your travel aspect. I think that this has frustrated you a lot of times in your life because this is, you feel like you should be able to take people with you. But you can't. I think that you can't for a good reason. That Scorpio placement over there tells me that you don't like to take no for an answer. And so when you feel like you want to teach somebody how to travel or take them with you or whatever, you feel like you should be able to. I think that if you really wanted to overcome this placement, you could, but it's going to take a lot of work. You haven't seen things during Reiki. Maybe you're just learning that. You sense something. Start saying what you sense. Start saying what you sense if you don't already. That's my advice, because those visions will come. You have the placements. Like, there's no way they're not going to pop up. So start trusting yourself. And it could be just that gift is kind of holding back a little bit until you do trust yourself more and be like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's Grandma Cheryl, you know, or whatever. Start saying what you sense, what you feel. I promise it'll help you. As far as your personal power, your magic, like where things lie with you, pull from that energy, pull from the ancestors, pull from, I would not be surprised to know that you've also like fallen down the rabbit hole about where your family comes from. And you probably know every bit of your pedigree when it comes to as much as you can find. I know some people you can't find shit, but I would be willing to bet you know all of that. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong. Is this your kid that I'm doing that I'm doing next? I'm dying to see this because I want to compare them. Yes. I know I haven't done a chart for him. I'm dying to see this. I'm really curious if he inherited some of your gifts. Yeah, dude, you're a powerhouse when it comes to energy work. And I think that as you hone your abilities with tuning into somebody's energy, I think that you're going to easily find that is how you connect mediumship skills with them. If that's something you want. Let me say that, if that's something you want, because some people don't want it. Okay. That is a serious ass child right there. That is a serious ass child right there. A Capricorn with a Capricorn moon and a Gemini rising. That is a serious ass child. That is also a child that can't make up for a Capricorn, has a hard time making up their mind, and is also a little melancholy. Always wants to talk about the dark aspects. Jeez, Sherry. Did you actually give birth to Spock? Like, I'm just curious, because come on. If those were in the 9th house, that 100% would be Spock right there. Holy cow, that's a serious kid. Look at, so serious, there's not even a ton of lines in the middle. Oh my goodness. That's funny. That's so funny. Okay. Neptune and Capricorn in the 9th house. So Neptune and Capricorn is very structured mysticism. Everything needs an explanation. I'm just going to say right now, before I ever look at the Hecate placement, any of that, this kid right here is going to be phenomenal at Hermetic magic, at the old school Solomonic magic, because he needs to have all of this research of why it works, what works, all of the aspects of it, all of the rules, all of the like ritual magic, Solomonic, Hermetic ritual magic. This kid is going to be fantastic at. Because that being in the 9th house is a lot of cosmic mysticism, super structured, super in touch with the cosmic aspects. Planetary magic is also going to be something that this kid is phenomenal at. Kali and Libra. Okay. Kali and Libra is very balanced power. Damn, this kid is also a powerhouse. And in the 5th house. So this is a lot of creational. Who y'all be giving birth to? Who y'all be giving birth to? What the hell? Hades in Capricorn is very structured underworld hierarchies. Eighth house. Access to all the death realms. Okay. Service space, threshold work, death crossings, and forbidden thresholds as a Scorpio placement. And then that Pegasus placement, which is also Capricorn, which is very structured descent. God, jeez. Okay, well, so this kid really did not get a lot of your energy work aspect, but this kid right here is a death working powerhouse. Almost every one of these placements lines up with underworld access, death work, death deities, etc. Like this kid right here, Sherry, what the hell? What did you eat while you were pregnant? Like, what the hell? This kid 100% is guided by every underworld deity out there. Every single one. Every single one. They are completely guided by every single underworld deity out there. I would also be willing to bet that there's been a lot of times when this kiddo should have gotten seriously hurt. And didn't. I would be willing to bet that is that you? Really? Is that you, right? But I would also be willing to bet that this kid right here had an interesting friend as a kid, probably several interesting friends. This kid is just as comfortable in the shadows. Well, they're more comfortable in the shadows than anywhere else. On top of that, the Hecate placement is very, very intense with this kid. Is very intense with this kid. That Scorpio placement and having basically all access to the underworld, all access all the time, all access VIP pass. When I say death work, there's an interesting aspect with that. It's not just the shadow aspect of it. This is also someone that's intensely. Let's use the right words. Intensely in tune with reaching people that can't be reached. With a lot of training and with the right guidance and I wouldn't even know who to send you to start with this. With the right guidance. So when it comes to mediumship work and when it comes to talking to people on the other side, people that have done that on purpose, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to get in trouble with the TikTok. People that have unalived themselves on purpose, a lot of times don't want to talk. There's a lot of aspects there that keep them from talking. This kid right here with the right training person, let me just say person because you're not a kid. With the right training and with someone to really help with the discipline, the guidance, the respect, like learning all of those things. So I'm in the middle of doing something, and that's not cool, man. You claimed that this was your chart. It wasn't. Like, that's not cool. Sherry, that's not your kid, is it? Just out of curiosity. I didn't think so. Christine, I assume that you screenshotted that before. Because that really kind of pissed me off. I'm going to make sure. Did you block that one? I don't give a fuck who you think you are. Nobody is a reincarnation of an archangel. Nobody is a reincarnation of an archangel. I'm sorry. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. You can be a vessel for an archangel, but an archangel would have to be a person to pass away and then be reincarnated. That really pissed me off. I definitely have time for that one later. Definitely. I'm sorry about that, Sherry. I was like super laughing and joking about this kid, and then that happened. Find somebody, thanks Christine, find somebody that can help train this kid in the utmost respect for the underworld. One of the things that makes me super glad that I grew up the way I grew up is that respect for the other side was literally pounded in my head constantly. And that is how you get a good rapport with all of those things over there. Just because you have unlimited access, unfettered access to the underworld, to the other side, doesn't mean that they're automatically going to talk to you when you're over there. This kid is absolutely, like, this Hecate placement is so intense right here, so amazing, that this is, she's always going to be around him, always. So all of those times when he should have got hurt, when he should have, you know, gotten way sicker than he did or whatever, all of those intense ties to the underworld are always going to keep him safe. It's crazy. When you're super tied into the underworld as well, you're also tied into the darker beings that are there. And I'm not saying that, you know, he should go work with darker beings, or I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you have an automatic rapport with them. So he's going to be more comfortable with the shadows and with the shadow aspects of things than he is with the light aspects of things. I would also be willing to bet that he has a severe mistrust of organized religion, a severe mistrust of any organized religion. It doesn't matter what it is, of any organized religion. I would also bet that he has more of that like scientific brain with the spiritual aspects, you know, the sacred geometry, the frequencies, the quantum magic, like those things. I would be willing to bet that this kid, given the right tools, and as I mentioned, I would 100% recommend Solomonic magic, Hermetic magic, etc. The book, The Order of the Golden Dawn would be a good one, but The Keys of Solomon would be a good one too. If that one's just a harder read, like it makes your whole brain hurt. It's such a hard read. But those things like that, that very structured, very ritualistic magic, that is his forte right there, is that super structured ritualistic magic. So I kind of understand now. I was laughing because I really and truly expected, I don't know what I expected. No, don't let me lie to you. I expected either something completely night and day different than you, or you know, a lot of the same things. This 100% is completely night and day different than you. And what I find very interesting is I keep thinking about your ability to take people with you when you travel and how that was cut off because of that retrograde placement that you have. I think that that is a good thing, because if you had taken this kid traveling with you, when you have a placement like that that's not in retrograde, you naturally take people traveling with you, whether you mean to or not. Does it mean you can train to do that? Absolutely. But you're naturally going to take people with you. So you having that shut off probably saved both of you, because it means that you didn't automatically take him over there when he wasn't ready, and that he couldn't piggyback on that when you weren't ready. This is a very intense kid, dude. This is a very intense kid, and given the right training and having somebody help him learn ritual magic, that is an Aleister Crowley in the making right there. Like in a better way. In a better way. Not in a horrible way, but in a better way. Does that make sense? That is a kid right there that is phenomenal. Phenomenal with ritual magic. Phenomenal with it. Is that what you needed to know about? I love it. I think that's cool as shit. I think that is cool as shit. It's not often that you find people that are naturally in tune to be a ritual practitioner. Yeah. So he will never understand some of the frou-frou things. Some of the, like, he'll understand the meanings of the crystals, right? But he's never going to be like, you know, he probably makes fun of you, I would bet, you know, as if it's not some scientific reason why you need to have that thing. He probably goes, okay, whatever. Am I wrong? You are so welcome, Sherry, honey. You're so welcome. Yeah, that's why. There's a whole field of Reiki called quantum Reiki. And it has to do, I gotta quit saying tonight. It has to do a lot with frequencies and those kind of things. He's going to be really good at that. If he really wants to do energy work, he will be fantastic at that. Anything that allows him structure. Anything that allows him structure. I would be curious. They have Solomonic pendants out there on Amazon that are, you know, $15 or whatever. That's just, they have a Grand Pentacle of Solomon and stuff like that. I would be curious if that would power him up. Allow him to channel his magic even more. I'd be willing to bet that it does. I'd be willing to bet that it does. Make sure that hadn't got cut off, because all of a sudden it got still over there. All right. I would love that. I would love that. I don't know if he would, I mean, if he would wear it or not, but some of them are really, really cool. Trying to shut that up before it starts beeping again. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. Miss Cindy is next. Cindy, this one's yours. It's getting a little better, Charlie. It's sweet of you to ask. Yeah, it's getting a little better. I don't feel like somebody's punching my eyeballs out now. But even though I ate a couple pieces of that cookie, my sugar's still kind of low. I'm not going to lie. I was super excited to have fried zucchini to snack on tonight, but it's really gross. Like, once it's cooled down. Not good. I'm sad. I'm sad. Not good. Okay. So Neptune in the 5th house is creative prophecy. Sagittarius is prophetic vision. Okay. There's the snake. Oh, I love that, Callie. I mean, not that baby woke you up, but I'm glad you're coming to hang out. Art of any type, Cindy, is going to be a natural way for you to channel. Even if it's just doodling on a piece of paper, that's a natural way for you to channel. There's your Kali. Gemini. Kali in Gemini is frequency, words, and symbols. 11th house is group power amplification. And it's in opposition to your Neptune, meaning that you want to do all of this artistic stuff that's super realistic and all of the geometry and so on, but you can't. The fact that it's in retrograde and it's power through frequency, words, and symbols tells me that a lot of times, you do that all the time. It tells me that a lot of times when you're trying to do spell work, when you're trying to manifest anything like that, you can't find the right words. It tells me that you get frustrated a lot because of this being, it's almost like you're super tied into frequency and words and symbols and sigils and wording and art and things like that, but you can't do it. Like, it just pisses you off. You're tied to it, but you can't get it done. All right, hold on. Oh, my nose is itching. Somebody's talking about me. Hades. Sagittarius, 5th house. Creative shadow, dangerous play. Mythical archetypes, okay? Ritual precision, controlled access. 2nd house is energetic boundaries. Okay. So I will say the good thing about your Hecate placement right here is that you are a natural at setting up boundaries. And I know when I said that, you're probably like, no, I'm not. You are. And I'm going to tell you how. You have always set boundaries to the point that it pushes people away. You are so good at setting energetic boundaries between you and other things that I would be willing to bet that people have always said that they can't get close to you. Even though you're like, I'm letting you in. Like, I don't know what else I can do. They always feel like they can't get close to you because of these boundaries. You might be opening all the way up and letting them in, but you have a natural gift and ability to push people away. Pegasus is in Virgo, which is diagnostic clairvoyance. And energy sensitivity in the 2nd house. So diagnostic clairvoyance is medical clairvoyance. It is diagnosing. Now, don't get that word mixed up, okay? Because this is not like y'all when you hear diagnostic clairvoyance. This is being able to diagnose something. This is being able to say, oh, this is what's going on with you. So like people that have done Reiki work for a very long time can put their hands on somebody and go, oh, your knee's bothering you. You know, you need to go have your knee checked out. You need to go have your sciatic checked out or whatever. They know immediately what that is. With you, yours is a little different because you're sensitive to it. So this is a protective mechanism. Remember how I said that you put up walls so much that it pushes people away? It's because you have this diagnostic clairvoyance. You are so worried about getting hurt that you have this crazy clairvoyance aspect where you automatically kind of just know what's wrong with anybody. Nobody that you care about can hide anything from you. They might go to the doctor and come home and tell you that they're fine, but you already know. You already know that the doctor said that there was something wrong. Like, you already know. And it's not their demeanor. It's not anything like that. You just clairvoyantly know. So because of this, I would be willing to bet that when you were a kid, this was so intense that you knew when you were about to lose somebody that you cared about. You knew when this person was about to leave and never come back or whatever. You had all of these things that you knew. And so this has made those walls come up immediately and come up stronger. Because, I mean, why would you want to put yourself close to somebody that's going to have problems or leave or, you know, whatever. So this is like a natural defense mechanism with you. But, what I find very interesting is that you're drawn to doing artwork. You're drawn to symbols. You're drawn to sigils. You're drawn to all of that stuff. And then blocked from it at the same time. Like, that's bullshit, right? But with this diagnostic clairvoyance, here's what I'm going to recommend. Learn iridology. Learn iridology. There's a whole science of reading the iris of someone's eye. It's a dying art. Learn iridology. That will pull on this natural aspect of this clairvoyance, this diagnostic clairvoyance you have, and it will allow you to overcome that creative block. And by overcoming that creative block, then it unlocks all of the creativity. Do you see what I'm saying? So iridology is the study of the iris of the eye. And with it, somebody that's very well versed in iridology, they can look in your eyes. They can look at the different things with your eyes. You guys have all heard how people say that a dentist can tell you're pregnant before you know you're pregnant. A dentist can tell that someone has cancer before they know, you know, things like that. They can tell by looking at your teeth if you got heart problems or not. Iridology is the same way. The pattern of the iris, nobody just has a solid color, right? Everybody has lines and patterns, dots, all kinds of stuff. All of those things say something about your overall health. There's a lady outside of Tulsa named Phyllis who has done iridology. She learned it from her dad. She has done it as long as I've lived here. I think she still does. But I went to see her one time because the doctors they kept telling me everything was fine. I knew I had an infection. I knew damn well that I had a bladder infection or something. But it didn't show up in any of the, pee-peeing in the cup tests or anything. She just took one look at me. She was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. She was like, she owns a, health, I don't want to say it's a health food store because it's not. But she has a lot of juices and oils and stuff like that. She was like, you need blah, 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 blah. I went over there and got it, and that shit was cleared up in 3 days. Like, that kind of stuff. Iridology, it is a lot to learn. It is a lot to memorize. But it's also absolutely fascinating. It is absolutely fascinating. So I would learn iridology. Palmistry would also be a good thing for you to learn. The study of all those lines. Even though that's more spiritual based, there's a lot of things that go into health that you see with someone's hands. It's not as instantaneous or as telling as eyes, but there are a lot of things that you can tell pretty quickly from someone's hands. Well, mine aren't a good example, but if you see people that their hands are kind of splotchy, they have like the white splotches all over, that's a blood pressure issue. You can tell, don't look at mine because I am dehydrated, but people that look like they have wrinkly fingertips or they have really deep set lines, they're dehydrated. Like, it's very easy to tell things like that. So iridology, palmistry, those would be fantastical things for you to learn with that diagnostic clairvoyance. Like, that's an intense gift. It's an intense gift. And it is why you have a problem letting people close to you. Yeah, it's why. And then having that Virgo moon, you're always going to overthink everything that they tell you. When they're like, no, I'm fine. The doctor said I was great. You know they're lying. So you're going to sit there and be like, why don't you want to tell me? Or Capricorn, not Virgo. So, yeah. Yeah. So, Cindy, that's a very interesting, intense gift. It's why you cannot land on one specific type of magical practice or whatever. So, just saying. Yeah, that's a really cool gift, Cindy. That's a really cool gift. So I have Shannon White next, and then I have Jessie, and then I have Melissa, and then I have Jennifer, and I think that is it on my list for this evening. You are so welcome. I'll see if I can find, there's a couple of really good books out there on iridology, but I'll see if I can find, I'll see if I can find some things, some recommendations. There's one book, I can't remember the name of it. It's not just iridology, but I can describe it to you. I have it in there. It's a really, really comprehensive book. It has a dark blue cover, like a navy blue cover, and it has a big eye that it looks like hazel, but a map. I don't know. It's really cool. Hang on, I can show it to you. Let me find it. There's one called Iridology, A Complete Guide. That's not the one I have, though. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Practical Iridology is the name of it. It looks like that. This one right there. This one right here. But this next one, that little blue one next to it. See this one here? That's like the navy, whatever. The navy with the eye. That one's a good book. I have that one. And then the one up there, that's the blue with the blue on it. Those two I personally have. So I would say those are, yeah. Yeah. All right, let's see. Miss Shannon is next. That's interesting that you almost have a nice little triangle there. Yeah, you're welcome, Cindy. If you need anything, just, I mean, you know where to find me. You know where to find me. If you need anything, you know where to find me. With palmistry, there is a book. I used to carry it in the shop that has a gray cover and a black palm print on the front. It's the Palmistry Bible. If you can find one. They put them back into print when it got to be a big thing on Witch Talk. But that is my favorite one. Because that one's a practical guide. You know, you can look down and be like, oh, your timeline, your lifeline is broken in 2 places. What does that mean? Go look at, you know, lifeline, left hand broke it. You know, like, That one, that's by far my favorite palmistry book. I recommend that all the time. I need to put it on my Amazon thing. It would help if I could just be like this one right here. All right, Miss Shannon. Eye twitching. So that, my dear friend, is a very interesting Neptune placement. We could spend the whole reading just on this fucking placement. Okay, ready? We won't, but ready? Neptune in Scorpio, first of all, is an X-ray sight into the shadow. In the 12th, though, if your Neptune is in the 12th house, this is a permanent liminal state. So it means that you will always have a problem grounding yourself. Always. This is why you look for ways to continually try to ground. Every time you find something, suddenly it doesn't work. Like the next day, it won't work. You will have to constantly change up your grounding routines for them to work because of that one placement right there. It means that you never quite dream all the way. You never quite travel all the way. I can't wait to look at your Pegasus placement. You never quite travel all the way. I would bet that you end up in places like Mall World a lot. I would bet you end up in places that are just empty things, like a big empty school or empty parking garage. Like you end up in liminal spaces a lot. It also means that you end up in the void a lot. You end up in that hallway all the time. You never dream. Yeah. Because you're in a permanent liminal state. So you also, aside from always having to ground yourself and find new ways to ground yourself, you never feel like you can fully connect with any one person, place, etc. Even though you have your people, your ride or die people that would do anything for you, and even though you might really love your house or this vacation spot or whatever, you never feel like you can all the way calm down. You know what I mean? Oh, I love that, Cindy. I'm glad. Yeah, those are two of my favorite books on iridology. All right, so let's look at the others here. Of course your Kali is in retrograde. Of course it's tied in with that. So Kali in Capricorn is very disciplined, contained power, and high resilience. Second house is power tied to energetic boundaries. That is definitely a karmic issue right there. We'll look at your Hecate in just a minute. Because what this tells me is that you have like an undisciplined power. Because that's in retrograde. If it wasn't in retrograde, I'd be like, damn, dude, that's like a super intense Kundalini aspect of your power. But this, you can't control it. Sometimes it's crazy, sometimes it's little. Sometimes it's left, sometimes it's right. Like, so it doesn't, there's no rhyme or reason to how your energy acts. And the fact that it's tied into energetic boundaries, which is tied into this right here, dude, that's 100% a karmic issue. Hades in the first house, shadow visible in astral form. Sagittarius is archetypal descent. Hecate in the ninth house is spiritual intuitions, initiations, intuitions. What the fuck word is that? Initiations. And Virgo is ritual, precision, and controlled access. I find that interesting. And your Pegasus. Teleporting and flicker travel, traveling with others. Girl, you a ferryman. You are the fairy master. Okay. Here's why you always feel worn out. You got a cruel joke going on over there, Shannon. You got a cruel joke going on over there. You have this amazing aspect of power to travel back and forth anywhere you want to go at any time, but you can't control it. You have the ability to take other people with you when you travel, but you can't control it. You have all of these, I don't care, to go away, I don't want to see that. You have all of these intense gifts and abilities that people would die for, and you can't control them. Like, you can't control them. Ma'am. Okay, so you 100% are someone who is a traveler. I would bet you travel almost every single night. You probably don't remember it because when you can't control it, you don't know where you go. And if you don't know where you go, then how are you going to remember it? Because there's no markers that your brain is keeping track of. I'm trying to figure out the right term. You would be a phenomenal experience guide. Like things that have to do with guided meditations, things that have to do with guided lotus aspects, you know what I mean? Like things like that. Learning to take people with you. You really need someone that can teach you how to hone that skill. You do. It's going to take practice for you to be able to hone it because of that stupid retrograde placement. But I don't think it's going to take as much as you think. Anyway, it's not going to take as much as you think. Learning to take people traveling is an intense gift. It's something that not only can you use on people, but that is something you can use with animals and all of that as well. So if you have like a soul dog or a soul cat, your cat probably already travels anyway, but if you have an animal like that, they're automatically going to kind of travel with you. They just are. They're automatically going to travel with you. I would be willing to bet that you pick pets based on you don't so much pick them on color or type or whatever. You pick them on that feeling you get from them, on the energy from them. If you're not in classes to be trained as, and start to learn how to do shamanic work, I would 100% recommend it. Because you being a ferryman and having unfettered access back and forth and being able to, be a master of going back and forth in these spaces and having the liminal space all to yourself, getting there all the time, that is an amazing way to help people. It's an amazing way to do a lot of energy work. It's an amazing way to pull a lot of things back and forth. It's an amazing way to go dump shit off over there. Just saying. Especially if you can take people with you. It's amazing to be able to take nasty shit and go dump it off somewhere. There's a whole area where you can take things that are bad and take them out of people and go release them into certain places in the astral where they'll get recycled, basically, for lack of a better term. I think that that would become a very powerful aspect. And if you work with animals, this is a really, really intense, amazing thing, because a lot of animals carry trauma just like we do. There's a reason that, you know, if a dog gets hit when they're a puppy, they'll remember that and they'll hunker down anytime you raise a hand, even if you never hit them. But taking some of that shadow away from them and transferring it back into the astral where it goes, that you can help heal a lot of people, animals, places, plants, etc. It's a really, really intense gift, and I think that it's something that's really fantastic. I would look into karmic aspects with your chart and find out what this placement right here is tied to, what your Kali placement is tied to. That will help to give you an idea of what karmically has cut this control off. Because that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Having the ability to do all of this and then you can't control it. That's fucking stupid. Where do you find that? I mean, I know like next week I'm doing the what do you need to know questions. I'd be happy to do that for you. Like I'd be happy, or have someone do a karmic read. Like what karmically has my energy tied up? Like that's all you need to find out. Whether it's me or someone else. Just, you know, karmically in your chart, what has your energy tied up? What do you need to do to fix it? There was something else I was going to say, and I just got completely sidetracked. There was something else I was going to say. But yeah, finding that out and figuring out what you can do to get rid of it. Because if you could control that, if you could blink over there to exactly the right space and blink back, girl, you'd be unstoppable. And you would sleep better. You would be unstoppable. Oh, I know what I was going to recommend. I was like, let me go back in my brain. That Neptune placement. This right here. Since that's like a permanent liminal space, research liminal spaces. Research mall world. Research all of those things like that. That will help you. That will help you. Fall down the rabbit hole. Mall world has tons of videos all over YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. Fall down the rabbit hole about that, because in learning about it and understanding how to navigate it, that will help you. It will help you access, and it will help you travel in those liminal spaces. The thing about liminal spaces that absolutely suck is that they can wear you out more than actually going to the astral. And when you spend too much time in a liminal space, it takes more energy to stay in the middle than it does to actually go to the place. It takes more energy to hold yourself in that middle ground than to go to the lower, the up, any of that. So you being in a constant liminal state like that, it's always going to wear you out. It's always going to have you worn out. So learning how to control that, and whatever this karmic issue is, that'll help you. It'll help you, because otherwise, I mean, you're probably used to it at this point. Not dreaming and not sleeping very well. But you shouldn't have to be used to it, you know? But yeah, my friend, you're kind of a powerhouse with that. I'm just saying. Just saying what I'm saying. You are so welcome. Y'all, my cat just decided to let loose something right here, and it's... I love him. Mm-mm. Jessie is next. I legit thought that was one of my dogs. I legit thought that was one of my dogs. But they're way over there. And this came straight up my desk, and guess who was laying right there? Well, that is very pretty. Dude, I guess so, Brandi, but dude, that's not cool, man. Because I know his ass down there snoring. Alright, you're Neptune. Sagittarius. Prophetic vision, very mythic thinking. Death, veil, mastery. Okay. Of course your Kali is tied into that. Kali in Aquarius is non-linear power, frequency manipulation. 11th house is group power implication. First of all, before we go too much further, you are phenomenal at processing downloads, at helping other people figure out what the download that they just got was saying. You are phenomenal at helping other people decode what they just got downloaded. So if somebody comes to you and they're like, man, I had this really weird thought, or, succession of thoughts, I think it was a download, and I don't know, all it had in it was like an elephant and a pink bunny and something, you're immediately going to be like, oh, it's blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, you have this innate talent to be able to help decode downloads. Hades and Capricorn, structured underworld hierarchies. And I think that if I remember right, okay, so that is in the 10th house. Okay. Authority in the shadow realms. Okay. Ethical karmic gates. 6th house of service-based threshold work. And your Pegasus. Some bitch. Lighthouse. Structured descent and interdimensional travel. Interesting. Girl, you have several intense gifts. One is a lot of underworld work. 2 is being able to travel. So the astral is broken down into several different areas. Just like a map, right? You have different continents and stuff like that. You also have maps of the universe, right? And in each area of the universe are different things. The astral is the exact same way. So what we think of as the astral plane is infinite, just like our plane of existence is infinite. If you think about the physical realm, the 3D, the 4D, whatever, that's an infinite level of possibilities of what's out there. You, my dear, have the ability to go back and forth through a lot of other places in the astral, or out of the normal astral. I don't know what's the best way to say that. Thank you, Saint Monkey. I appreciate you over there. In other words, you can visit deity houses. You can visit other planets. You can visit other beings' astral spaces. Like, I'm not gonna say it's aliens, but that's a very intense gift. That's a very intense gift to be able to go back and forth through that. That's also rescue work. authority in shadow realms with rescue work and underworld hierarchies. This is pulling people back when they get out there too far. This is you being able to train yourself to get out there and pull people back when they've gone too far. My advice is going to be learn to travel on purpose, not just on accident, not just you just remembered a necklace that your son gave to me. I wish I could show you. I'm curious, Sherry. I'm curious. Jessie, learn to travel on purpose. Learn what is the easiest way for you to travel, like all your setup, like learn to astral travel on purpose and then start pushing. You know, like get really good at going to one specific place. You're already naturally tuned to be going to the shadow areas, the lower realms. And that's where you probably go more often than not. I would bet that you probably have a hard time getting into the higher realms because you're already in tune with these lower realms. Start going on purpose and then start paying attention to the things you notice, the beings, the structures, all of that stuff. Just explore. Go fly around, explore, see what you see. Don't stress so much about recording every single little thing that you do. Stress more about where you get to go. You know, do you get to go up in the mountains? Do you get to go way over there out in the middle of the plains? Do you get to go over where the big damn white wagon wheel prison is? Do you get to go to the Akashic Records? Do you get to go... Like, just explore. I mean, be respectful, but just explore. Don't push too far any one time you go out there, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. Weird bump. You learning to travel on purpose will... I think that you will find very quickly that you've already made friends over there. I think that you will find very quickly that you already have a very good reputation over there. I think that you will find very quickly that there are a lot of things that you're comfortable with over there. Magically, a magic skilly talent that you have, I would say protection and healing are the two biggest talents that you have because of that 11th house placement up there. The fact that you have a natural ability to travel and you just need to hone that a little bit, coupled with that 11th house Aquarius placement, that is a lot of service to others, that 6th house placement. You being able to rescue others, you being able to heal others, you being able to protect others, all of that. So start learning protection work, start learning Reiki, things like that. But 100%. And I love the perfect diamond with the squares on it in the middle of your... That's the first one we've seen tonight. Like, we've had a couple almost, but that's the first one we've seen tonight. Yeah. Dude, I think when you master traveling on purpose and you realize that you've been making friends over there forever, however old you are, for all of the Jessie time on this planet, I think that's going to blow your mind. I think this is going to blow your mind when you realize how many friends you have over there. I don't know what else to call them. Because they are. Because they are. But protection is a big thing. Service to others. Anything you can do to help somebody is going to give a natural boost to that magic for you. Whether it's a candle, whether it's a jar, whether it's spitting on somebody's head. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah. You just learned Reiki? Good. Good. And how have you been since you did? Or have you been kind of buzzy a little bit since you learned? Because I would be willing to bet that it really spoke to you, didn't it? I think that's cool as shit. Oh, yeah? You know what's really funny? I think that when you start learning to travel on purpose and you start finding out that you've been talking to beings over there for a very long time, I think that you're going to start remembering invisible friends and stuff like that. I think that you're going to start remembering a lot of things that have happened to you your entire life, and how, you know, no one could explain them. You couldn't explain them. Things like that. I'm going to be willing to bet that all of those things are going to pop up and you're suddenly not going to feel as crazy as you did whenever you were younger. I'm just saying. I'm just saying what I'm saying. So, yeah. All right, Miss Melissa. 2 Scorpio retrograde placements. Aw, thank you over there, Sherry. And that is all by itself. X-ray light in the shadow. A public spiritual role in retrograde. In retrograde. Oh yeah, every one of you will be down the rabbit hole. Every one of you will be down the rabbit hole with these. So this is so much frustration on your part right here. Because wanting to be in a public role in spiritual circles and then getting blocked at every single fucking turn. There's your Kali. Kali and Capricorn in the 11th house. Restricted, hierarchical access. Hierarchical. Words are not my friend this late at night. Hierarchical. Collective crossroads. Okay. First of all, I will say that with this aspect of your Neptune being in retrograde and it meaning and in the 10th house and so on. Don't watch me on. If you are still wanting to be in the public aspect of the spiritual realm and be, you know, help out, be a guide, etc., this right here is where you do it, because your personal power with this Kali placement lies in collective crossroads. So places where there's a lot of traffic through that area. Road trips are going to be a very powerful or empowering thing for you. Travel is going to be a very empowering thing for you, even if it's just travel around the city you live in. That's going to be a very powerful thing for you, because you're going to pass through. It's like a power up, right? You're going to pass through a lot of these places where many people go on a daily basis. They pass these crossroads on a daily basis. And if you think about it, every time you're out in your car driving, you're riding a bus, you're on the subway, whatever, you're continually passing crossroads where hundreds and hundreds of people are a day, sometimes thousands of people a day. Those are, nobody that goes to a crossroads, well, not, I'm not going to say nobody, but if you're in a car, it's not like you're going to go and then do a U-turn in the middle of a huge crazy intersection and come back out. Do people do it? Of course they do, because they're stupid. But most of the time you're going straight through or you're turning. So you're entering a crossroads and then going one way or the other. So if you're out driving, if you're riding a bus, if you're on public transport, anything like that, going through all of those crossroads that people use all of the time, that is going to be an immense power up. Okay. I don't want to look at that yet. I want to look at your Hades. There it is. Direct confrontation with shadow. And shadow communication and whispered knowledge. Interesting. So what I love about this, thank you, CeeLo. What I love about this is you have a no-nonsense approach to the nasty things. You have a no-nonsense approach to the shadow things. You're not afraid of them. You've never been afraid of them, and they're respectful to you because they know damn well that you will shut them down. And you have a natural ability to talk to them, to converse back and forth. And here's the thing. Good night, Christine. Here's the thing. You guys can talk to shadow without letting it in. You can talk to shadow without it being bad. You can talk to shadow because just like the light, the shadow holds good and bad. The light holds good and bad. So keep that in mind, but you have a direct communication with it. Not the one I want yet. Hecate and Scorpio. Forbidden thresholds. 10th house. Yeah. Okay. So this one's interesting. Because this 10th house placement is like a public gatekeeper role. And that being in Scorpio is forbidden thresholds and so on. To get to places, I have a feeling that you've tried to get to places throughout your practice that allow you into forbidden knowledge structures and things like that. Don't try. Just, let it happen if it happens. I would bet that you've had a hard time accessing Akashic Records because of that placement right there. It's not your forte. I mean, it is, but you're blocked from it. So you feel like you should be able to go to all of these places in the lower and the higher realms, all of those things, but every time you're turned away. I don't think that this is a karmic issue. I think that this is more... I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. I think that this is more... It's a reverse psychology on your part with the astral, right? So if you decide, you know what, I could really give a shit if I get into the Akashic Records or not. I don't care. I don't really care if I can get into the higher realms. I don't really care. When you start to do that and put that energy out, that's when they're going to be like, wait, why did she change her mind real quick? Why did she change her mind real quick? Like, that's what's going to pop in. Like, why suddenly does she not want to come to the higher realms? Why wouldn't you want to come to the higher realms? That. So you have to use a lot of reverse psychology here to get by the gatekeepers of this placement. Damn it. Aries in the 4th house. First responder. Ancestral pathways. Okay. That reverse psychology is going to be so hard for you because of that first responder placement. It's okay. So here's the thing. Because you have that intense placement in Aries there in the 3rd house, this one here, which is this is your Hades placement, which is your shadow placement. And it's it's in Aries in the 3rd house, which is a natural communication with shadow and a natural authority with it. This is where your main talent lies, and that is in dealing with the darker things, dealing with shadow work itself, helping other people through shadow work, helping them navigate things like that. And that's why that liminal power up here, not liminal power, crossroads power, well, yeah, liminal spaces, but crossroads, that's why those power you up so much. Because by utilizing the energy of so many people going back and forth, and when I say that, don't think I'm saying somebody's stealing energy. Anytime you go through a crossroads, that's energy, right? The crossroads has energy itself, and you have energy, and you're sharing that together. So it's a loop of energy that's in there. And the more people that go through it during the day, that's more energy. Think about it when you drive to work. If you drive to work during rush hour traffic, and let's say in the morning, you're driving normally during rush hour traffic. Everybody's kind of in a hurry to get to work, right? So that's a lot of anticipative energy like that. If you were to leave earlier and you were one of the only people in that intersection, it wouldn't feel like that, would it? It would feel eerie, spooky, magical, right? You would feel the intensity of that crossroads. But you add all of that anticipatory energy into it, and now you are super excited to get to work because you want to get past that. You get past that and get to work, right? So when you come home, though, how does that energy feel? Because how many people have gone through that threshold now? How many people have crossed that threshold, gone through those crossroads? So now that energy is turned from that anticipation energy to a different type of anticipation. The day is later, right? Everybody wants to get home and relax and so on. But if you were to go through it late at night, you would feel that magic again. Do you see what I'm saying? So by having a natural gift and ability to be able to draw from energy like that and recycle it and utilize it in shadow work and utilize it in helping people with their shadow aspects. And then also being able to utilize energy and information from the shadow aspects of things here and in the astral. That's a very intense gift. The other thing, I love that you have the placement up there with the crossroads, because being able to deal with shadow and the shadow aspects of beings, of people, etc., always comes with a little bit of mud that sticks to you. To be honest, the best way for you to get it off is to go through those crossroads, go through those liminal spaces. So when you've been helping somebody with shadow work, when you've been helping somebody with serious problems, etc., I would bet that you feel better when you get to go, when you get to leave, when you don't have to sit and stress about it. You get to go out, go for a walk, walk through some crossroads or whatever, walk through some pathways. That's going to help you to drop some of that off, because a liminal space is always going to require a return, right? So if you're going through that crossroads and you're wanting to pull some of that energy to utilize, because now it's just raw energy, right? It doesn't really have a good or a bad to it. It's just raw crossroads energy. So you're pulling some of that energy. If you have negatives to dump off, that's the perfect place for it, because it will wash itself out in that liminal space. It's not going to stay good or bad. It's going to turn into neutral energy. So this is always going to help you when you've helped people with shadow. The one thing I want to say about shadow is to just be careful, because just like when you're talking to spirit, talking to shadow is also, it pulls on you a little bit. Just like when you first start talking to spirit, you don't understand everything all the way, because you don't understand how it communicates with you and vice versa and so on. Shadow is kind of the same way, but shadow is a lot of riddle, a lot of, there's just not a lot of upfront communication with it. It may flat out be like, hey, I want to squish that toy that you got. But it wants to talk about horses and running and pounding the pavement, beneath their feet. And you're like, who the fuck are horses coming in, That's how. It's going to be a lot of riddle and a lot of things like that. So the problem is that then it gets a lot of riddle with what it wants from you. So you have to be careful. But I don't know if that made sense. But yeah, this is an intense shadow magic aspect. Intense, amazing shadow magic aspect. And I love this. I love that placement right there. Oh no, you have to go drive around and travel and go walking through the park. Oh no, it's so terrible. You are so welcome. All right, Miss Jennifer. Jennifer is my last one this evening. If you didn't make the list tonight, I know tonight was sold out, and I'm pretty sure that they said tomorrow is sold out as well. So you still have a couple other days. I will be doing these Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday if you want to get on the list. let's see. Of course. What is up with y'all and the... Okay. I had to look at your birth year. I know what it is. 70s and 80s. 70s and 80s. Oh, let me get on my right notes. My whole brain is like, wait, what? There we go. Neptune in Capricorn in the 8th house in retrograde. Okay, Neptune in Capricorn is structured mysticism, and the 8th house is death, veil, mystery. Mastery, mystery, mastery. Mastery, dumbass, that's an A. But in retrograde. So you have a hard time connecting with ritual magic. You also have a hard time connecting with underworld magic. Okay, so wait, where's your Hades? We're going to look at your Hades first, and then we're going to look at your Kali. I know I've been looking at Kali with everybody else, but I want to look at your Hades first. Of course, it's going to be the last one I look at. Some bitch. There it is. Mediating between light and dark. Creative shadow. Dimensional jumps. Recognized astral role. I think you have a very specific role in the astral, and you're being kept from it. Taurus in the 12th house. In your indestructible form. Massive power. Requires strict containment. I don't know if Jennifer's here. I think she probably headed out. Hecate placement. Yale. Gatekeeping for authority. Spoken or written portals. Miss Jennifer, 100% you're a gatekeeper. Threshold keeper. And I don't mean gatekeeper as in like she's keeping information. I mean she's a gatekeeper of opening portals, opening doorways, opening things like that for people. Being a portal keeper, that Leo placement down here is portals. Notice that it's tied into your Neptune up there. Having your Neptune, and then what was the other one you had in retrograde? Your travel. You're being kept from the astral on purpose. It's not all of the astral, but it's a lot of really intense placements. That Taurus placement in the 12th house right here, that is a very intensive astral form. That is a very intensive Kundalini energy that is almost indestructible. I would say that there is something karmically here that's keeping you, son of a bitch, that's keeping you from remembering who you are, what you do over there, etc. And that could be one of two things. Either a punishment, a karmic issue, or for your protection. Because sometimes when our soul has had a very heavy or intense placement in the astral, we don't always get to know what it is right off the bat. What's interesting about it is that it means that you have people over there waiting on you, basically, for, I mean, whether it's to lead them somewhere, to guide them, to teach them, to whatever. You have people over there waiting on you. I would be interesting to find out what karmically is going on and why that Neptune placement, why? Like, what happened? What do you do to fix it? The other thing I would say is this. You have such an intense, rock solid, grounded energy with that Kali placement, this one here. Your forte is protection magic. That is your forte. boundaries, warding, and protection magic, because those things right there tie in with that Kali placement. Like, it's just great. But specifically boundaries and warding. And warding is not just, doors and windows and stuff like that. Warding a house, warding a person, warding a backpack, a car, a property, warding a building. Those are very, very big things, especially a building, a person, warding a person, because that's a movable living thing, right? An animal, things like that. Those take a lot of energy, but that 12th house Taurus placement right there, that is an intense, stable energy that A, is an energy well, and B, will always give you what you need to pull and utilize to ward something, to protect it, etc. I would highly recommend to start researching if you're not familiar with warding. And for those of you guys that are just learning about warding and stuff, it's WARDING, ward. I know my Oklahoman says ward, warding. Sounds weird. Anyway, warding. But start looking into warding. Warding is not all just sigils and glyphs and rune work and stuff like that. There's a lot that goes into it. And so advanced warding is going to be something that is 100% where your forte lies, Jennifer. I would say, forgot about this. Hold on. Let me go back and look, because it already, yeah, that's your gatekeeping aspect. This is portals. Once you learn warding, once you learn how to go back and forth on purpose, once you start really paying attention to how you travel, you're not someone that is going to have you're not someone that's going to have a common tether. You're not someone that's just going to have, a turtle or an elephant, or, so you're not somebody that's going to have a very common tether, because you use portals to go back and forth in the astral. You use portals in the astral too, which is obviously going to ping the interest of the things over there, because they're going to sniff it out and know, oh my gosh, that's a portal. That's a portal. Like, they just know. I don't know how to explain it. But start learning warding. Start learning protection magic. Start learning how to boost that. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little jealous of you guys that have the 12th house Taurus placement, because that's fucking fantastic. That's fucking fantastic. That is a powerhouse of energy. Okay. So with that is, that's my list for the evening. If you guys didn't get on tonight, then I think tomorrow on the 4th is already sold out. I'll be doing this again the 5th, 6th, and the 7th. So if you haven't got on that list yet, then you should. And next week we'll be doing some other types of astrology. So you guys know there's going to be a lot of astrology from here going forward, just because my schedule is going to be a lot of travel starting in March, which is, not very far away now. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of astrology. So if there's specific things you want to know, then we'll get on it. Anyway, all right. I love you. So I'll see you